My past has been a mystery, and I didn't want to know, so I didn't ask. I have always had a happy life with my mom and stepdad. But things changed after they got divorced. I still miss him. I don't remember how it all started, why I first ran, or what kept me going. But I remembered the wind blowing in my face, the adrenaline rushing through my veins, and everything just got better. Something in me has awakened. I am not sure whether I control it or it controls me, but it feels right.
For years, we brought justice to our city. We made mistakes, fought amongst ourselves. Many of us fell along the way.
I almost admire your perseverance, Tyson. You and I could have been a great team.
You'll never put your hands on my research. This ends today. You need to fight back! Sonya is controlling you!
No, old friend. She freed me.
Okay guys, we did it. Now it's time to break into the Telosium generator room.
Telosium, huh? The powerful and unstable energy we need.
I must say, seems like a trap.
Not just seems, definitely is.
And we're going in like this?
Of course, we need energy.
And I'm not in the mood to recharge in an outlet.
Well done. Was easier than we thought.
Every time you open your mouth, something bad happens.
Ouch. That hurt. And remember, this mouth is ours. Do you know who the cowboy is?
Not a clue.
In any case, we agree that he deserves our best treatment, right?
My friend, we'll have to agree. You gave us the best gift of all!
The scent of uncertainty in the air. I love it! Let's go! We relish making decisions. We delight in making our opinions count! And now that I'm in control, this game is in our hands. So, it's your call.
From the rooftops, from the ceilings, or a frontline rusher. Follow close, I'm feeling lethal. You better take cover. Make no mistake, I'm rising to the top, cause I'm moving my way. In line for or the edge of a blade.
My past has been a mystery, and I didn't want to know, so I didn't ask. I have always had a happy life with my mom and stepdad. But things changed after they got divorced. I still miss him. I don't remember how it all started, why I first ran, or what kept me going. But I remembered the wind blowing in my face, the adrenaline rushing through my veins, and everything just got better. Something in me has awakened. I am not sure whether I control it or it controls me, but it feels right.
For years, we brought justice to our city. We made mistakes, fought amongst ourselves. Many of us fell along the way.
I almost admire your perseverance, Tyson. You and I could have been a great team.
You'll never put your hands on my research. This ends today. You need to fight back! Sonya is controlling you!
No, old friend. She freed me.
Okay, guys, we did it. Now it's time to break into the Telosium generator room.
Telosium, huh? The powerful and unstable energy we need.
I must say, seems like a trap.
Not just seems, it definitely is.
And we're going in like this?
Of course. We need energy.
And I'm not in the mood to recharge in an outlet.
Well done. It was easier than we thought.
Every time you open your mouth, something bad happens.
Ouch. That hurt. And remember, this mouth is ours. Do you know who the cowboy is?
Not a clue.
In any case, we agree that he deserves our best treatment, right?
My friend, we'll have to agree. You gave us the best gift of all!
The scent of uncertainty in the air. I love it! Let's go! We relish making decisions. We delight in making our opinions count! And now that I'm in control, this game is in our hands. So, it's your call.
From the rooftops, from the ceilings, or a frontline rushing. Follow close, I'm feeling lethal. You better take cover. Make no mistake, I'm rising to the top, cause I'm leading my way. In line of 4 or the edge of a blade. I'm calling all the shots, la da da.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show. It's been years since the Free Fire tournament has taken the stage in the United States, and we are back, baby. And true to the Free Fire name, we're bringing the battle in style. Welcome to the Free Fire USA Championship 2025. It is an honor to be your shoutcaster for this tournament. I am Neptune the Gentleman Garcia. Joining me is my brother, the Mustachio AJ.
I am pumped up, Neptune. Today's going to be a good day, man. After 3 long years, we are back to rock it in the United States of America. And the teams have been vying for this opportunity for a long, long time. We know they are hungry. We have been hungry. And we are going to get served some good, hot Free Fire action today. 4 maps in this day. We've got Group A in the battle. You guys will get all of the lowdown in a little bit. We know you guys, the viewers, have been waiting for this day for a long, long time as well. I think we are all in here for a good delight today, Neptune.
Oh, definitely. I mean, I'm really excited on what's going to happen. I mean, you did mention 3 years ago, and it was a Free Fire Pro Series North America when it happened. And a lot of things has happened even before that. When Free Fire is on the roll, especially in North America, and they went in to the FFWS Sentosa. But this is where everything will be reset, everything will be seen, and from the teams that we have right now, I'm pretty sure they are excited to be in the battlefield because I want to see how things has evolved from years back up until now, especially a lot of meta changes has done, and we know how regions differ in terms of tactics.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, North Americans, they speak fast, they play fast, they most definitely want to win fast. But the problem here is we have got a whole tournament stacked with them, right? So we got to see exactly who's the most consistent out of them. We all know a good game of Battle Royale has got some elements of RNG in there, some elements of randomness. And we are going to expect a lot of that randomness at the start of our competition because of how long we have been away from the pro scene here as well, right? We're talking about maps. Now we have got 6 maps in total that can be played in competitive. We've got the brand new edition of Solara as well. But the more important thing is here, even though Bermuda has been in the circuit for the longest of time, these teams have got close to little information about each other, right? So drop spots, you know, what kind of play style these teams take, what kind of rotations they play, and you know how those rotations are so essential in a Battle Royale, Neptune. It's going to be chaos, but I'm going to be enjoying this chaos every single moment of the day.
Definitely. I mean, it's a mix of poetic and chaotic at some point because you will see some that would be streaming through the battlefield, going into the edge of the circle every time. And then when the moment comes in, especially in the final circle, that's where all the engagement will be on the line. But again, a lot of talks, a lot of things that we might be seeing. But one thing that I'm curious and also excited to tell everyone is, what are they fighting for? What is that the team going for in this tournament? Because we're talking about $30,000 US in total prize pool, and the champion will be bringing home $10,000. The second place will be bringing home $5,000. Third place would be $3,000, and for the 4th to 6th will be $1,800, $1,200 for the 7th to the 9th, and even those on the 10th to the 12th will be bringing home $1,000. But we're talking about once we get into the grand finals.
Absolutely, man. Everybody takes home something as long as they get into the grand finals. We have got a total of 24 teams, 12 teams in Group A, 12 teams in Group B, and they'll do battle over 4 days of the group stage. And then we knock away 6 teams. A total of 18 teams will proceed to the knockout stage, which will be played on the 5th and the 6th of July. And from there, we drop a further 6 teams for a total of 12 teams for the grandest of finals here in the USA Championship 2025 to see exactly who rips away the biggest slice of that prize pool pie. 10,000 USD, a lot of money. I want a piece of that, Nep.
Oh, definitely. I mean, everyone wants a piece of that. And we're talking about these teams from Group A. I mean, we have T-Rex Gaming, we have BBC News, we have RNKTZ, Team Fighters, Smoke, Abandonados, Gavilanes, Rosario Central, TF Esports, Phantom, X-World, as well as Dark Hunters.
Well, I hope they play as good as some of their logos here because I'm absolutely in love. I love seeing T-Rex out there. I love seeing the Dragon on Smoke. Smoke, the Abandonados as well. Are they as good as their branding? Are they as good as their names? We will find out in a little bit. Once again, it's not just about those rotations. It's not just about the mechanical skills. It's also about if or not these players are sticking to the current meta that we are running out there as well, Neptune.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we're not just talking about the meta in terms of weapons, but also the active and passive skill. But before we head there, let's take a look at the match schedule. We're going to start off on the OG map, Bermuda, followed by the newest map, Solara, and then Nexterra, and then for the final map of the day, it would be Kalahari.
You know, one of the things that I did not expect about Solara is you can actually have your opponents on the grind rails as well, and you can shoot at each other while grinding those rails. Absolutely fun if you get it caught in a situation like that. But I've not seen it on the pro stage just yet. Hopefully, North America will be able to bless us with a situation like that at Solara later. Point system, the cardinal rules of free fire competitive as always. You hit the booyah, you walk away with 12 points, 9 points for the second place, you minus 1 point for each consecutive spot, all the way down to 10th. 11th and 12th gets you no placement points at all, but you can buffer yourself with those eliminations. Every elimination, you walk away with 1 point.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, this is where they really need to stack up in terms of elimination before we head into the final circle, because a lot of teams most of the time, I mean, they are limited with that 12 points when you get that booyah. But if you will be able to get a lot of elimination despite of not getting that top 3, you can still catch up onto the leaderboard. So that's one thing that we are expecting, especially from the aggressive team that we have in the mix.
Yeah, so that jazz works here in the knockout stage. That jazz will work in the group stage as well. It will not work on our grand finals. We have got champion rush condition activated. So in the knockout stage, in the group stage, if you're not aiming for that booyah, if you're just going to be heavily focused on the eliminations, you're still all right. But on the grand finals day, you got to aim for that booyah, man. I mean, we just saw exactly how Southeast Asia completed their tournament, and an absolute underdog squad got the championship at FFUSC. And that's exactly what, you know, one can expect out of the grand finals this time around as well. Unless, of course, consistency wins it from the very start all the way down to the end, Neptune.
Yeah, I mean, we keep asking about consistency, and at some point we are given those for some specific teams, but right here we won't be able to see that much, I guess, because of the it is new from the scene of the United States. So we'll see if they'll be able to maintain that once they get through from the group stage onto the knockout stage, especially on the grand finals.
Absolutely, man. And of course, we want to see what the active passive skill combinations are on the North American side as well. Whether or not they're keeping up with the meta, whether or not they've been doing their homework, or are they just a bunch of ranked warriors hopping on in here looking for some extra bit of that prize pool, right? Because there's a very big difference between the two. I mean, if you are a ranked squad team and you've got the mechanical capabilities to get to a stage like this, great. But if you're not going to be playing according to the meta, if you are not looking at those active passive skill combinations that's going to give you the little bit of the edge on the battlefield, and your opponents do it, then you're going to be on the losing end, right? So we're going to be assessing those items as well as we continue our journey here in the North American League. It's not a stretched out league, right? So these teams actually don't have a lot of opportunities to make mistakes, Neptune. Each and every single game is actually going to be very, very crucial for them.
Yeah, that's why homework is really important for the teams. I know these might be new players, new teams in the pro scene, but they need to do what the pros are doing in the past. They need to do the homework. They need to study their opponent. You did mention about the active and passive skill, but if they want to go and use active skills based on their game style, they need to find out as well what are the meta from the other teams that they need to counter so that they won't be taken down a little bit early into the game. So we are looking at the Group A's of this tournament, and in a bit we're going to see as well which of the players would be the MVPs, which of players will be doing so much in terms of elimination, because that is crucial as well. Because from motivation-wise, from the other tournaments that we've seen, if one player pops off, the rest is being motivated. So that's one important factor that we are also looking at.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm also looking at another factor, the age factor. Sorry, old man. So we've got RNKTZ. On average, they are the youngest team out here on the battlefield. I want to see how they fare against some of the more mature players out there as well. Mature in age, in their experience or capabilities, yet to be seen. We'll have to see a little bit later on. I do not want to mention the teams that have got the older players. In general, RNKTZ is on average the youngest squad out there. And I want to see if that gives them that edge, right? Because we've seen a lot of players who are very young. I'm talking about 14 to 16, who have got those flexible thumbs. For some reason, they just play so much faster than us. And mechanical skills will make a very, very big difference, especially when you are in a game of Free Fire, when you want to take those long scopes with those snipers, with the marksmen, and you want to be, scoping in and out. You want to be getting some extra assistance from that auto aim. You need those fast fingers, man. And these kids, I don't know how they do it, but they just do it so beautifully. So I'm wondering if or not RNKTZ will join the ranking of superstar children out there as well. Because I see a 14-year-old player there. I see a 15-year-old player in Silent and all. So, yeah, this is going to be one interesting factor as well that we have to look into.
Yeah, exactly. It's more of how much effort they put in as well, because yes, they have mechanical skills, they have the speed, but how much effort have you put in being the best in that in the battlefield? Because from Southeast Asia, we've seen the Wonder Kid. One Wonder Kid would, if you put them in a mix, especially snipers, you will see Rasia in there. So that's one name that we are looking into, especially when we're looking at into a lower age. But for those older age, I know they might not have that mechanical skills, but in age comes wisdom. So I guess tactical is what they will be aiming for.
Get out of my head, Neptune. I was just about to say that, man. I was going to highlight that, some of the more mature teams, or the teams that have those mature players on their side, we're talking about Dark Hunters with El Salvador, right? He has passed the 30 gap, just like me. And, with age, not necessarily wisdom, but the maturity is definitely going to be there. Experience is definitely going to be there. And that's exactly what you need to kind of keep you in the upper echelons of the pro scene, because times are going to get tough. Mistakes are going to be made out there on the battlefield. How do you recover? How do you keep your team in check as you take that next step is going to be very, very crucial, because if you ruin one match for yourself and then you get demotivated, it's not going to help you out at all. So that maturity definitely needs to set in as well, which may be an issue, may be a factor that brings some of the younger squads down. But of course, these are the team lineups, guys. A lot of new names here. Some of you guys might recognize some of the old school boys out here in the world of Free Fire, but we are waiting to rediscover them together, Neptune.
Yeah, exactly. I'm seeing in the chat as well, there are a lot of cheers for BBC News, and as well as Team Fighters. So for those of you who haven't put in your chat just yet, just let us know. Let us know which are your friends and which team you're rooting for. You might know them personally, because this is what they need. We've seen as well how motivation work in terms of playing well and giving that energy towards the battle. But I guess we are ready. We are set to begin into the OG map right now. This is Bermuda, where everyone started.
I really like the fact of how you said, they want to be looking out for their friends, and you did not say they want to be looking out for their enemies as well. Yep, no enemies out here. We are all brothers in the good game of Free Fire. But of course, on the battlefield, it's a different story altogether. I do believe we have turned off the elimination feed for the players, so they will not be able to see exactly who they're engaging with out there on the battlefield. So they won't be able to actually aim for anyone in specific, right? When they go out there, they cannot see the gun skins. So those skin factors will not be involved in the game at all. The character skins will not be seen by the players. The elimination feed will not be seen by the players. So a lot of information is obscured. You just have to go out there and try your luck. So if you come across a bigger team, a better team, you are not going to know. So you have to take the decision if you want to fight. And depending on how the early moments of that engagement goes, whether you want to retreat or you want to stay and see exactly who's the better one out of the two.
Yeah, exactly. And we've seen as well that some of the teams gauge their opponents based on the movement. So you can see the movement as well if that is a team that you can go in close range. And if that is a team that you can fight off on the long range, especially in a sniper. And we'll have to find out, though, because looking at the roster of the teams, I guess there's not so much in snipers or main snipers for each individual players. But I guess it doesn't matter, especially if everyone is proficient on that. So you might be a rusher, but you're proficient as sniper. You might not be disclosing it, but I would say a lot of players out here, even in rank, I played so much, and a lot of players has been hitting me on a sniper. So let's see as who would be the best snipers, the best rushers, as well as the best support in this game, because we are set, AJ, for this fight.
Absolutely, brother. And it looks like the flight path is going to be kind to us as well, from Observatory all the way down to Cape Town, opening up the full map. And we've also got the blue circle in here for the play, which might just deter all teams. Nobody wants a big fight early in the day. I'm a little disappointed.
I mean, like, you don't know the drop spot of the opponent, so at least get away from possible hotspot that will be happening in Hangar. But speaking of hotspot, we have a clock tower right now occupied by two teams, and I guess this is where the battle begins. We are seeing Gavilanes on factory, or between factory and Pochinki, and we have a Phantom as well in Mars Electric. One takedown has been done, and Team Fighters right now is taking the lead.
Yeah, Abandonados in here with a little bit of a worry as well. TFE Sports showing up in the most unfortunate time. Mini Uzi in the hands of Garu. He's taking on the fight. He's got a little bit of backup, and Garu gets the headshot. Man walking in here with 2 HP and gets the first headshot of the day.
Yeah, I mean, no regards to HP. He just won to get that elimination, and he heals up. The rest of the teams will be going for the fight, but none is eliminated just yet. We still have 12 teams battling right here. A recovery might be happening in a bit, but onto the other side, we have TFTR on the battle, or being taken down by Smoke.
That Team Fighters going and getting smoked by Smoke themselves. But like you said, Neptune, not a single team eliminated just yet, all thanks to the fact that we have got those vending machines out there. But cheekily getting away in his vehicle. As he speeds on away, we jump back into the battle between Smoke and Team Fighters. You can see that electrotherapy from Cassie powering up 161. And on the way to find Wanshu. Wanshu very trickily gets away. You do have a little bit of a distraction here from BHB on the left-hand side, but none of the players from the side of Team Fighters want to fight.
Yeah, I mean, Team Fighters, well, probably they just want
They're gentle fighters.
Gentle fighters. Well, there will be a chance. There will be a chance. You know what happens when one player from your team will be eliminated? You manage to make a passive approach, and also, as we can see, the split that Vanshu and the other players from Team Fighters has done, they split up, making sure that one will be surviving, as well as heading for probably a vending machine or a revive platform. So that is one tactic that we're seeing right now. Binoculars has been used, but fortunately, Vanshu has not been spotted, but everyone is now moving in towards him, and finally, the binocular sees him.
Yeah, man. Bye-bye, Vanshu. That's all we can say. He's got the MP40 in hand, great rate of fire, but no medkit, no glue wall. So, he gets the first knock, Vanshu, but he will not be able to survive that one for very long at all. And Team Fighters still will be on the back foot as Smoke continues to smoke out player after player. PHX VY, the final one left in here. I know there's a better way to say his name. Boo Wuyu. Okay, it's going to take me a while to catch up with his name. Boo Wuyu, we see you, brother. But with 400 coins, man can only buy back one of his buddies. There are 2 coin machines out there. So he should be able to buy an insurance first and then go in for the rest of those coins. With Gaju on the way back in here into factory, we will be able to spot on Fighters a little bit later on as well. But Cheeky, once again, stuck in between a hard place and a very strong squad with 4 men.
Yeah, I mean, it's news for him right now that he is being swarmed by 4 players, and Jiki is just trying to get away. I mean, he did manage to get away earlier on the vehicle, but not quite sure if he can go and fight. But P90 in hand managed to damage Attack Titan, but unfortunate on the other side, Mimic was able to knock him down. And there goes the takedown, but again, no elimination, instantaneous revive is also happening for Team Fighter onto the other side, but I'm just wondering where the rest of TF Esports are.
Yeah, I mean, the rest of TF Esports, the fact that Cheeky got eliminated, we've still got 12 teams on the battlefield, means Cheeky did his job. The distraction was long enough for those revivals to come on through. But now, Phantom up against Gavilanes. Gavilanes, 2 players bleeding out on the ground. And it looks like Captus 50 is nowhere close to the rest of his members. Thompson in hand, goes in for the spray, gets 1 knock, but wiped out. The first team to get laid out on the ground. Gavilanes, unfortunate because Phantom dropped them like they were hot. Meliodas with the MP40, 3 eliminations, and he wants more nap.
Yeah, he wants more. And let's see, though, if the Hawks, Gavilanes, will be able to swoop in later on onto game number 2. But now they will be nesting into the lobby. On the other hand, we have the Dark Hunters, not really hunting that much, but they are inside of BBC News. So staying outside of blue at this stage is not so much damage because it's just a pinch at this moment. So let's see on what rotation they will be taking. Will they be heading into BBC News on the other side or straight into the next phase of the safe zone? Because you know how it is. You need to get your position well so that you can gatekeep anyone who's being chased by the blue.
I agree with everything except for the pinch, man. It's more like a tickle. All right. This one will not worry our players all that too much. And it looks like the Dark Hunters want to stay on the darker side of the blue as they challenge the damage. But the question is, are we going to be able to see them catch up to BBC News? We are still waiting for that engagement. In the meantime as well, we do spot Rosario Central in the central part of the map, almost coming across those little kids that I was talking about. RNKTZ, whether or not they are kids when they come across them or masters of Free Fire, we will find out shortly. But with Rosario Central hitting the assault bunker first, they've got the better weapons here potentially.
Yeah, well, let's see, though, if they'll be able to fight back despite of having better weapons on the other side. But it's not the only problem that RNKTZ has. We also have X-World right now who will be pinching them in. So I guess that's one reason why Rosario Central stopped as well. They don't want to be spotted, and they want to take that advantage. But I guess they're losing out. Mario has been taken out from the other side of our view, and it's RNKTZ who's doing that. The compound hold that they're doing right now is crucial for them or for their survivability, and they're doing it quite well.
So let's see if Mario can hit another one from afar. RNKTZ doing fairly well thus far. Even though they were pinched in by 2 squads at the same time. X-World, the ones who are inside the circle, so they don't really have to maneuver around all that too much. But we cannot say the same for Team TF, right? TF Esports, as they make their rotation in, they have to go through 2 squads. One is Rosario Central, the other one RNKTZ, the team that they were just shooting at. So I'm sure RNKTZ wants a little bit of revenge. But as the circle closes in, it's going to be pressuring these kids as well. So everybody needs to find a way around. A good jump pad will come in handy right now, Neptune.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, hopefully they get a trajectory wherein it is diagonal against their opponent. Otherwise, they will just be shot at. But speaking of that, Darius right now, M79 in hand. But the response coming from Team Fighters, this is the time that they're ready to fight.
T-Rex, they want to rip some apart. But the question is, can the Trogon get the job done? Yes, he can. But a fantastic blue wall pulled out. And the M590 will outplay the Trogon. Rusox, as well as Abichuela, desperately trying to pick up their player outside the circle. And they will be able to hop on in, no problems whatsoever. The electrotherapy connected to the wrong player here. And JK actually needs to top his own health up, and thanks to the fact that Abichuela had got that treatment gun there as well. They will be able to circle around into the final blue zone. No issues whatsoever. And reviving Darius shouldn't be too much of an issue. As you can see, they are heading straight in here for the vending machine. The second zone, not much of a tickle, like a mosquito bite this time round. And so they are going to be able to bring their buddy back in before heading on into the next circle.
Yeah, that's something they need to scratch as well. So let's see how well they'll be able to get rid of any rash coming in from the blue. But Dark Hunters right now, they did manage to get 4 eliminations already.
Oh, yeah.
And they're just waiting onto the edge. Onto peak, we also have Rosario Central, who was able to beat them to it. So this will be trouble for Dark Hunters at this point. But I guess they're still safe for a few more minutes, for a few more seconds, once the blue closes in, because they don't need to move unless someone rotates against them, and that will spell trouble for them. Or any shots coming from them will also give Rosario Central that cue that they need to rush.
Yeah, I think Dark Hunters are doing the right thing here. So they managed to top up everything in their pockets first, those glue walls, those med kits, and get those ammos, more importantly, before engaging with Rosario Central. Dark Hunters taking on the roof instead of jumping in for a very aggressive fight. I like this strategy a little bit better. And Dark Hunters, they are in the next circle, and not having to rotate much to get into the next zone will favor the Dark Hunters overall with this high ground.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, they might need to step down later on, but there's not so much of trouble because Rosario Central will be doing the work for them to clear the way later once it closes. But it's quite difficult because the rooftop that they have is or will be taken by the next phase of the circle, so they need to get into that peak maze. Yeah. So that is one crucial factor. If they still have a launch pad, they can put themselves on the other side, but I guess they're not deciding that much because they want to join the party in the ground floor. They don't want to be pinched. They don't want to be stuck later on. They want to be ready and prepared, similar to how they started moving into peak.
Okay, very interesting maneuver coming in here from the side of Dark Hunters. They hop on from the back of the circle and they rotate over to the front, anticipating a setup here by Rosario Central. Great move coming through from the Dark Hunters. And now they get to backstab these buddies of theirs before the circle catches up with them. If both these teams do engage now, it will put both at risk. Escolta, 1 second too late, and Escolta still gets sprayed down to the ground. Elimination coming through from Maraquin, and instantly taken down. Dark Hunters with their slow rotation around, outsmarting Rosario Central just before they reposition. And guess what, Neptune? In the next circle, there are scarcity of vending machines, so reviving their buddy is going to be so difficult.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that's one thing that they need to work on. Take down Dark Hunters or move into the closest vending machine. But on the other side, they need to worry as well. A lot of engagements happening already, and we still are left with 9 teams fighting. We are on the third phase of circle going into the fourth, but on this side, we have T-Rex right now. I think about to be extinct because player JK decides to go outside of the blue, and T-Rex will not be roaring.
Yeah, the circle just wants to torture everybody else as well. Just setting it towards 2 teams. The rest of them have to maneuver their way in towards the circle. Open grounds, Neptune. This is one of the great highlights of Bermuda, and a big battle as well for Dark Hunters as they once again get into a little bit of a scuffle. And it looks like the clan of Rosario Central wants to get to that vending machine desperately, but their rotation got cut off here by the Dark Hunters. Salvador, 1 more HP, and down he goes, all thanks to Kane and the deep freeze. RC into hopping on in as well this time round, and they wipe the squad out with the M79, all because they took Escolta out of the equation.
Yeah, I mean, that is revenge coming from Rosario Central. But we also saw one from a Phantom moving in, and Tox will not be able to fight back that much, but he did manage to go in for a takedown, but not that doesn't damage them as a revive or recovery is being done, and Phantom will be taken out on fourth. We have 4 teams or 3 teams remaining at this point, or 4 teams rather, and well, it's a full squad for both, but no one is stepping in onto the next phase of the circle. It is only Rosario Central who takes this cover, as well as on the other side, we are seeing a TFE Sports who managed to grab a compound. Despite of the scarcity, they managed to take the prime location in this map.
When there's smoke, there is fire! And the backstab is perfect. Yokis with a connection from afar into down on the ground. Kane as well, knocked out by the M590. Smoke desperately trying to break down those glue walls, and they break down the whole squad of Rosario Central.
16, 17, 18 needs to add 4 more numbers to his name because of the 4 elimination that he has, and he managed to get a lot. 3 teams remain in this fight, but TFE Sports has a good rotation, good location, and good position in this battle. Abandonados will be left out and abandoned by the zone, but Brian will try to fight back, but unfortunately Uriel will have him on crosshairs.
Yeah, Abandonados just ducked and said, not today, Jose. Beautiful stuff, using the terrain to their advantage and that slope just blocking them from all of that line of sight, so they get to stay safe for the time being, but not for long because the Blues about to catch up and those mosquito bites about to turn into some cat scratches, and you don't want to be scratched by no cat today, man. Those things hurt. Smoke, Abandonados, as well as TFE Sports. The last 3 teams remaining, full squad on each side. This is going to be chaotic because Final Circle has got no cover at all unless you want to depend on a tree or 2.
Let's see, though, on how well they go in. UAV has spotted them already, but that pushes Smoke to go in for the rotation. High ground advantage, but the Blues still closing in. Abandonados right now trying to defend themselves. Glue walls, but the Melters will take that away. And as we look, the edge of the circle, the final battle. 3 teams fighting it, only 2 in the mix. And 1 goes down already for Abandonados. This will be the cue for the other team to go for the rush.
Or using the Sun Wukong in a battle royale on this meta, not the best of ideas, and they get laid out instantaneously. Abandonados abandons the lobby, and now with Smoke, as they get smoked, 16, 17, 18 could not find the connection with the M590. Crazy, on the other hand, the connection onto Hugo is great, and the fantastic blue wall dropped as well to save his life. But can he block away all of these rest of the shots? Everybody's focusing down on him. Smoke with 1 final player, and TFE Sports has pretty much gotten the job sorted out already. It's a 4v1 and a 4v none as TFE Sports breaks the first booyah of the day.
Imagine how well Cheeky managed to survive from the first engagement, revive the rest of the teams, and they fought back. That is one good storyline that we have for TFE Sports. There's one good story as well in terms of survivability, and you know that's the name of the game of Free Fire.
Oh yeah, absolutely, man. And you are spot on, right? Cheeky, final player, full squad revival. It was a painful journey, but the rotation was absolutely sublime, I would have to say, from all 3 teams in that final circle. Especially when it came to the takedown of Rosario Central, I was not expecting Team Smoke to spot them out, go in for the hunt, and swiftly execute them to get into the final circle, because I was thinking Rosario was quite solid, right? Because remember, they lost Escolta to Dark Hunters as they were taking the jump pad out of the compound, and in order to get to the vending machine, they turned around and they went for them successfully with just 3 players.
Yeah, I mean, it's good play coming from Rosario Central. And it's just unfortunate that there's just a lot of things that have moved them into not getting into that final circle. But a lot of things has happened already. A lot of things has been shown already in this fight. And TF Esports grab the first booyah. The question is, will they maintain this? Will they be able to continue on this fight? Because we saw TF Esports, they were very passive, even on before that final battle, because they just stayed away from the rest of the teams. They don't have that much of a cover for them, so they need to work on how they work around, they rotate against their opponents, and that's what they did.
Absolutely. And of course, highlights for Phantom as well. Meliodas played it so beautifully in this game. I think stacked up quite a number of eliminations on his side. His favorite weapon, the MP40, and the man was lucky to find the MP40 out there as well. It's one of those weapons that you can find out there in abundance, and great rate of fire, great damage out of that SMG as well. Only problem is you don't have a good mag size on this, right? So unless you've got some sort of attachments for the mag, You run on out there, you are going to be on the lower side of the stick, the shorter end of the stick. But thankfully, Phantom has got some pretty solid players on their side. So the backup was really good.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that's one important factor as well in terms of Battle Royale. As long as you get back up to help you. But we have our MVP right now, 16, 17, 18, plus 5 more in terms of elimination. And 4 assists, 4 headshots, 2,177 on damage, wearing that Tatsuya, Tiva, Joseph, as well as Shani. It's pretty much like a meta build for him as a rusher for the team.
Yeah, I'm a tad bit confused here because he's the rusher and support player. Because you look at the active skill, you can use this to rush, but you can also look at it from a different perspective as well, right? As the support player, you are also rushing in to save your buddies. And with the combination of that Tiva as well as Shani, you're going to be able to pick up your team members almost instantaneously, making him one of the better supports. But what is the flex here is the support player bringing in the numbers for the squad. So respect to the team. Let's take a look at the head-to-head here as well between Dark Hunters as well as Team Smoke. 4 to 5 eliminations, but the biggest of difference comes through on the damage location here for the players. Salvador.
Yeah. I mean, El Salvador, despite of their safe play, they didn't get so much really in survivability. So that's where Smoke comes in. And like, it doesn't just mask where rotation is. This is also helping them on how they can get in good positions to go in for elimination as well as getting on that booyah. But between the two teams, TF Esports who grabbed the booyah and Smoke who grabbed the second place, well, it's not so much of difference between them other than the revive. So this is where TF Esports Chicky goes into play. He did manage to help the rest of the team grab this booyah from the beginning, so I guess he should be their MVP.
Absolutely, man. I mean, without Cheeky, obviously TF Esports wouldn't have gotten very far at all. But mad respect to TF Esports because even after that revival, they made that full squad recovery. They got their weapons back. They got enough utilities to rotate into that final circle and still walk away with a total of 10 eliminations, right? To match up against Team Smoke, which was quite effectively maneuvering their way around, surviving most of their players. Only a single revival came through for Smoke there. So it's an overall very impressive move from both teams, but of course, Smoke with the first booyah of the... Smoke with the very impressive approach towards that final circle.
Yeah, we'll have Team Smokes with most elimination. And in terms of overall, everyone that has been eliminated, this is 56. I know we only have, we have less than 56 in terms of survivors out there, but because of the revivals, it increased overall. So that's one thing.
Because they were good survivors.
Yes, they are very good and revivers as well.
Absolutely.
14 in total rescues, 81 in total knockdowns, and this is where that Tiva is important. Why he's an MVP, why 16, 17, 18 managed to be a good rusher and support because of like survivability is their priority. So if you get knocked down, at least you have a quick pickup coming from your support.
And of course, once again, TF getting that booyah for game number 1 with the 10 eliminations. And because they got the booyah, they get that extra boost of points with the placement points, and they take that number 1 spot. Even if they were same number of points, we've got our tiebreaker in here anyway. But Smoke very close behind them, waiting to smoke the rest of the teams. But we also want to be looking towards the bottom of the leaderboard here as well, right? Team Fighters, I was expecting a lot more from them, as well as T-Rex, I have to say.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough, though, for Team Fighters, especially on how they were on Clock Tower, split up, not so much of a chance, really, to get back. And then the moment that they recover, they were stuck in one place as well, wherein there's not so much a fight on them. It's Rosario Central, if I'm not mistaken, who got a beat on them when we thought that the 2 knockdowns against Rosario Central is enough for Team Fighters to eliminate them, but the remaining 2 players is something else. They managed to go for the full rotate. One even managed to go from the second floor and jump in to eliminate Team Fighters. So it's tough, though, for T-Rex. They did have a lot of elimination. Only 1 player was left for them before they went into that final circle. So it's tough, really, to get through that.
You are out of 12 teams here. T-Rex has actually got the 5th most amount of damage. But you can see through the eliminations, 7 eliminations, but only 2 placement points. Too much of aggression from T-Rex at the very start. Not enough utilities on them. And of course, luck plays a role in there as well. They were trying to get away from the circle. They got caught in a little bit of a, unfortunate engagement that extinguished their hopes in that first game. But it was a very good start from them. So you see, mechanically, Neptune, this is definitely one of those teams that we have to keep an eye out for. I'm expecting them to make a good comeback here in Solara, because this is where your mechanical plays will shine, because not every single team has managed to master this new map just yet.
Yeah, Emily, I mean, this is something that is new. There's something that a lot of surprises might still be happening right here, especially with the slide rails introduced. So a good play for entry as well as exit, and how that glue wall covers you when you release that on the slide rail. That's another factor that is not available on the other map. So if in case you're a solo player, if in case you're cheeky, you might be able to get away quickly without even getting a vehicle. So that's another factor that they need to take over for T-Rex as well as Team Fighters. I mean, all hopes on them, and even for the other teams as well. Didn't do well on game number 1.
Yeah, and we also saw a couple of off-meta active skills out there as well. I was thinking that was an active skill card, but it wasn't. It was actually the player playing the Sun Wukong, which brings up a very big question mark in my mind. But I'm not going to judge that pick of active skill just yet, because we have definitely seen off-meta picks even win the Global World Series here in the world of Free Fire. So we definitely want to see how these teams, make good work out of it. But this time around, Wukong didn't really do much or really bring much impact in this game number 1, Neptune.
Let's see though. I mean, this is something that really breaks the meta at this point. But speaking of break, I guess we are off to an intermission, a little bit of break for everyone to prepare for the teams, for the battle at hand. So when we return, we are getting in the same team, the 12 teams going in Solara. So don't go away. We'll be right back in this battle.
Welcome back, survivors. This is the Free Fire US Championship 2025 with your boys, Neptune the Gentleman Garcia, my good brother, and myself, Anton Jermaine. We are your casters for the day, and one match has been completed thus far with TFE Sports rocking Bermuda with a booyah. We've got 3 more games to go, and this next map is at Solara. I'm looking forward to this one, Nep.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, a lot of teams, a lot of players, even the survivors out there are looking forward to what Solara has to offer.
Oh, yeah.
Especially as this is a new map. And we keep talking about this earlier before we went on a break. There's a lot of surprise, a lot of factors that still need to be discovered here. Though mechanical skills, rotation, yes, that is prime. Because of how you can move so quickly, even without a vehicle, because of slide rails, that's something that can throw off your tactics. So hopefully they can find a good spot that they can probably outsmart those using the slide rails. But you know how it is. Once it is used by the opponent, it lights up as well. So it gives you that information, but how well can you do it? Because you're not, we're not talking about just team versus team. Other teams might be able to watch out on that as well. So you might be third party.
And of course, I also, you know me, man. I always like this high-octane action at the start of matches. So I was not a little bit, but very much disappointed that teams decided to avoid the blue circle in that first matchup at Bermuda. But hopefully, everybody saw what we saw as well. With the teams avoiding that, I hope in game number 2, we have some brave souls who drop by into that blue circle. Because high-tier loot zone is always going to put you in a great position in this matchup. But of course, there's a little bit of risk there as well. You drop in early, you don't know exactly what gun you're going to come across. You might just have your squad eliminated early, but high risk, high reward with a high tier loot zone.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, if you plan it quite well, you might be able to go and at least have one survivor to pick you up. So it doesn't need to go in all squad. As long as you have 3 players getting the high tier loot zone, make sure everything is clear. The other players who is set for a backup can go back. So let's see on how well they can put that into play. This is Solara right here. A lot of new plays, a lot of action-packed battle might be happening, and this is one thing as well that I want to see, because at some point when I played rank, I saw a few players moving into a waterfall. Let's see though if that's something that we will see in the pro scene, because there's not so much of time really to spend in finding out where the best loots are, but best hiding spot, definitely that is one.
That's why you go for the high tier loot zone. You don't have to figure it out. You just head on in there. You're probably going to walk away with an M79. You're probably going to walk away with an AWM. You know, and this is exactly what you need in the game, right? Some of these higher tiered guns, so that you will be able to outgun your opponents instantaneously. But I truly agree with you. Teams haven't really figured out exactly where they want to go. I personally do take the drop there as well and found it mainly because the waterfalls are just so freaking beautiful. Studio is the next best spot, and it looks like the studio is also the high tier loot zone. And as I ask for it, Xwell is gonna say, we are the brave souls, we are heading on in there, and they will be rewarded for this, Neptune.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, high tier loot, a lot of M590s is available for them. That would be crucial when they rotate, because it seems like it is Phantom that will be the next target for them, unless they head into Bloomtown and straight into TV Tower, because a lot of teams are moving there, even in Archway, because it's quite in the middle of the map. Greater chance that you can survive, but also greater potential that you will be targeted next.
Yeah, no doubt at all. And at Archway, it seems like TFE Sports may just be in a little bit of trouble, but they potentially go up against RNKTZ, who sent out a drone, but unfortunately towards the wrong direction. So TFE Sports not going to be spotted out just yet, as they quickly rotate away and they take that UAV out of the skies as well. So no information for RNKTZ, but because their drone got taken out of the skies, they know that some team is somewhere out there. So the best thing they can do right now is just stick to Archway and make sure they've got the loot. But look at here, Smoke moving on, and at the very same time, and you've got T-Rex pounding on these players.
Yeah, into the fight they go, and there goes one being taken down from T-Rex. Smoke right now going for the third party, and this is one thing that Smoke is very proficient. The moment they hear the gunshot, the moment that they saw a knockdown, they are taking advantage of it, and Smoke really doesn't have to go after the fire because they are bringing the fire in this fight.
Oh, beautifully played here. But now, unfortunately for Rosario Central, we don't see Into with a lot of cash in his hands. And Kane, though, does have the coins, manages to quickly purchase Escolta back in here. And it looks like Rosario Central will continue to survive in this game, at least for the time being, as they get smoked out by the players on the side of Smoke.
Oh, yeah. Escolta is still alive. Good chance a recovery is happening, but it needs to get out as quickly as possible. Into, not yet, being taken down. And once that is confirmed, there's a good chance that he can be revived as well. We have the new kill leaders coming from the smoke, but we have Escolta who will be stuck between Smoke and T-Rex and some other teams. So this is crucial that Escolta doesn't make a sound, doesn't even make any view, but this is the risk, because the moment he steps in, it will light up and it will give a cue for the other teams that there's someone using a slide rail.
I've only got one question. Where is this brother heading to, man? He's just going on foot. I assume he spotted out the players on the other side of those slide rails, and TFE Sports will continue to wreck the players on the side of RNKTZ. And we haven't really seen a lot of battles or battle capabilities from RNKTZ just yet, Nep.
Yeah, I mean, despite of how well they might be able to fight back because of their youth, I guess that is something, tactics is something that they need at this point. Well, Team Fighters right now in a fight against the Phantom. You know how it is. You cannot shoot at ghosts. So let's see if the ghost, the Phantom, will be able to get through on this battle. And Team Fighters right now is backing away.
I just want to get Phantom on an interview and ask them why N instead of M. That's all, right? Team Fighters, on the other hand, using a bus stop. But I don't know if anyone has given them a memo. There ain't no buses in Free Fire, so they got to scoot on out of that. They did have a vehicle that they could have made use of, but deciding to abandon that and make their way away on foot. Phantom, on the other hand, not going in here for the pursuit. Just very happy to stick here with the weapons arsenal and probably see exactly what they can rip away from this weapons loadout. But on the other side of the battlefield, it looks like a little bit more action as Escolta brings Kane back in here as well. Rosario Central still focusing on that revival.
Yeah, I mean, on the other side, you did mention the kill feed. Smoke is being taken down by Abandonado, so I guess there's a little revenge happening on that side, but we'll have to find out if that will spell to a complete elimination, or will they come back in for the fight. But X-World right now bringing in a good position against Team Phantom, but with this arsenal, they might be able to fight back even better. And Tokes was able to go in for a takedown. The recovery can be done because they still have time to pick him up.
Oh, Foreverus being saved here by SUX, but unfortunately here, the shutdown just not coming on through. X-World now trying their very best to fight back up against Phantom. Fabian has got a little bit of a sticky situation here. RGS 50 up against Fabian. One grenade can put him on the ground, but the medkit working in time for him. And X-World doesn't take advantage of Phantom's low HP just yet.
That's something that you really need to work on. The moment that you know that you've hit an enemy so much, you can just put in so much of pressure with grenades, glue wall melters, even the deep freeze can help, because we've seen that earlier. Like just a sliver of health, the deep freeze can take him down. But X-World right now, I guess they don't want to step out of this world. They don't want to deal with ghosts at the moment, and they're just hiding out. But Milio does in a 1v2. Here comes Capo for the back up, as well as Tokes. This might be trouble, and forever will not be forever anymore.
Yeah, I mean, Capo stepping on out there and gets the knockdown. Two players snuffed out already. Phantom picks up the first 2 points of the game. The rest of the opponents back away from this compound, but the work is done. They get some extra loot. They are stacked in coins as well. So probably will be on the hunt for a vending machine a little bit later on. They have got their pocket markers on them. But let's see exactly what they do with that as Abandonados become the brand new leaders of the lobby with those eliminations. And Rosario Central still on the recovery play on the right rails, trying their best to get out of here. Oh my lord!
Team that managed to go and take down a few players from Smoke is doing the same thing for Rosario Central. Not so much of them will be done against this team, so they need to pray hard that the final player will not be taken down that easily as Abandonados goes in aggressively in this fight.
Yeah, Rosario Central keeps dropping at the very edge of the maps. They just have to drop in towards the central part of the map, you know? Just like their names. Maybe then we wouldn't really need to rotate so much. Rosario Central not having a great game here on Solara. Into the final player. Has got 1,500 coins in his pocket, which means full team revival on standby. Just needs to get to the vending machine and needs to hope and pray that the players on the side of Team Fighters are not camping on the vending machine. Van Shu right behind him has got the sight in hand as well. And unfortunate for Van Shu, he just does not sniff out into just yet. M590 spots the player, and Van Shu was in the right place at the right time with the right reaction. But the revival was completed, and therefore Rosario Central still in this match.
Yeah, they're still in the match right now, but they need to split up. They need to get away fast. And Kane, well, Kane will be in trouble the moment that he gets spotted. I don't think he had that much, but on the other side, RKTZ managed to go in for a multiple takedown, and another team is eliminated.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I mean, unfortunate for them. But of course, let's focus back here on the Fighters. It's a three-way potential battle here that's about to break out as Abandonados makes their way towards the TV tower as well. Gaju finding Nino, Rax down on the ground as well. And Team Fighters really taking the fight up to them. Vanshu just pushing on forth. Finds one with a Groza as well. On the hunt, and bye Lali, they will say in a couple of seconds. This man has managed to sidestep all of these shots. Vanshu meeting him halfway. And the glue wall keeps him on his feet for a little bit longer, but Garu faces the same fate as the rest of his team members. And once again, Rosario Central as well, down to the final man. But this time, Kane is broke. He needs more coins in his pockets.
Yeah, he spent so much time in TV tower that he didn't have any exposure on the camera. And let's see, though, if he'll be able to be the star later on once he gets away from trouble. But TF Esports doesn't plan to go away because they're just on the edge of the next phase of the circle, of this phase of the circle. But the moment the next circle shows up, then that would be the chance for Kane. And let's see, though, if he'll be able to bring back the rest of the teams. 10 teams fighting in this match, and we are down to almost 10 minutes into the battle.
You see, kids, that's exactly why your mama said, don't watch too much of TV. You need to work for your money. Kane, unfortunately, watched a little bit too much of TV here at the TV tower, and now being left up high and dry. Kane desperately trying to circle around. Man has got no coins. Even if he gets to the vending machine, Kane cannot do anything for the rest of his team members. Has got the super med, tops his health right back up here. I'm very curious to see exactly what the journey for Kane is going to be like. Where is he going to get these coins? Goes in for the loot. You're not going to find coins there at all, Kane. And it looks like he's just going to be sticking to the survival gameplay, unless, of course, Smoke has got other ideas for Kane, looking to potentially end the run of Rosario Central shortly. We'll catch up with them as Abandonados and Smoke are potentially getting into a tussle shortly.
Yeah, I mean, 9 elimination already for Smoke, and I guess that is the target, that is the goal for 16, 17, 18, is to bring back their teammates. And let's see if that is something that they can do once again for one of their players. They might have lost this fight, but in terms of elimination, they already stack up so much. For Abandonados, they're 1 elimination behind, but it's a full squad. So this is the advantage that they have, just in case Smoke wants to jump in. But unfortunately, the play zone is a little bit too hard, though, from 3rd to 4th. That would be a huge bite to your HP.
Yeah, and Abandonados know a thing or two about being bitten, man. I mean, all their players on the revival and RNKTZ, unfortunately for them, being put down to the ground one after the other. Team fighters want to fight and they take it up straight to Abandonados, forcing the rest of their team members to abandon them high and dry. But Smoke wants a piece of this as well. But that was the wrong decision. Max Loco, truly loco for hopping on in there. And Team Fighters sought them out, burying them 6 feet under. 11 eliminations thus far. Team Fighters bringing it big to Solara.
Who says Team Fighters doesn't know how to fight? They are just timing the battle at hand. And with Gaju, who might be recovered right here, plenty of time for them for the revive platform. And there's not so much that we've seen in here being used. Most of the time, it's a vending machine. But no, Team like TFE Sport or Team Fighters rather, knows that they have plenty of time. They have plenty of resources to battle anyone who's jumping in against them.
Yeah, big brain play there as well, right? And they got a little lucky because the edge of the circle was right on that revival spot. So nobody's going to be behind them at this part of the game. Obviously, they'll expire very quickly. So that's some big brain play there. Gaju just dropping outside the circle, tanking a little bit of damage here before he catches up with the rest of his team members. This is going to be a little bit of an issue because there's a long way to rotate here for the fighters. And they scan out with the binoculars, the players on the right-hand side, spotting out 3 members. And because this is the rotation that they want to be looking for, let's see exactly how they pull it off.
Yeah, let's see though, on the other side, we are seeing Abandonados going in against the Dark Hunters, but Fabian is also in the mix. Rax will be able to go in for the pinch, and let's see who gets spotted first. There goes a takedown with a Groza by Lali Garu. That is a revenge after so much of survival happening for Abandonados, but 10 elimination already being taken, and I guess they have a chance to fight against X-World right now. The Cruz will be taken down.
Oh, Laligaru back up on his feet. This is very essential because that Groza X in hand is going to do them a lot of favors, surviving the mid to long range engagements as the rest of the players make their way into this next safe zone. Unfortunately for the squad of Abandonados, though, they are being kept very, very busy by the Dark Hunters. Dark Hunters have got a decent defensive space to work on here with, and Abandonados looking to pull that away from them. This is pretty much in the next safe zone. So Abandonados don't need to worry about going in here for the rush. Brian with the Bison in hand, sprays down Perverse, and the Dark Hunters picked on the wrong squad this time round. Abandonados blazing on, 14 eliminations in hand.
14 eliminations, and Dark Hunters just went dark in there, and that is one thing we're talking about. You don't want to go and use that Wukong because it doesn't have that much advantage, especially in the long range. So that's one thing that they need to do, but we are left with 2 teams remaining. We have Abandonados as well as BBC News, but what can Rogado do against a full squad? Even if you sneak up, take down 1, not so much will happen. And there's still a Coda in spot. And as we see it, a booyah is about to happen right here, coming from Bayan.
Yeah, everything happened to this man at the same time. A massive booyah for Abandonados. The final engagement. Pro Boy was all alone. Riptide Rhythm hitting him, AC80 hitting him in the head. Man had nothing he could do out there in a 1v4 against such a rampaging squad in the form of Abandonados. Laligaru truly tortured, but the rest of the team, they picked up the slack. And I'm sure this is going to whip up quite a little bit of frustration in Laligaru, and we can expect to see some numbers from him in the next game.
Yeah, let's see though. Let's see. There's a lot of numbers that has been rigged in by BBC News as well before that takedown. But 14 make that 15 elimination in 1 game, plus the 12 points coming from Booyah. That is one thing that can rise them up from the 12 points that they gathered earlier from the previous match.
Dude, this is a massive game, right? Guaranteed more than 26 points for these boys. They picked up 12, like you said, for the previous game. So from good to super good in this game number 2. And that's exactly what we want to see. And, we were talking about how Solara's just not a map that many teams have managed to master just yet. Abandonados making good use of all of that chaos in terms of positioning, because the mechanical skills out of this squad truly sublime, right? And this was no accidental match for them, because the Abandonados literally had to go on a revival streak before getting into that final circle. This lobby in North America is hot, Neptune.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I'm quite happy to see how well they go in for aggression. And like at this point, because they have the groove on already after map number 1, they're going in for the aggression. They know that they can go in for the fight, team versus team, even in long range. We are seeing all those all those battle. And we might not be able to spot on everything, because a lot of things is happening. And that's how we feel that all the teams, not just one, not just two, not just a few of the teams, but most of the teams in here are going in for the fight, grabbing as much as elimination, especially if they didn't get too much point from map number 1, because they know what's in line and they know that they can do it.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And, I'm actually starting to notice here some of the North American players are playing off meta quite a little bit. We also saw the Ignis active skill. I mean, the Flamirage, I am not a very big fan in terms of the damage output, but I'm a very, very big fan in terms of it being able to obscure the view of your opponents. But it does work a little bit better in Clash Squad on Battle Royale, especially when the map is so big and you have to deal with multiple squads all around you potentially. That Flamirage is not going to be the biggest impact bringer of an active skill out there. We're not seeing too many of these A124s, surprisingly, Neptune.
Yeah, I mean, A124, not so much. Well, probably it's because it is from the previous season or previous update that it brings so much. But compared to what we've seen, Ignis, we have the Wukong, and I am seeing a familiar picture right here coming from Clash Squad. So that's a good point that you did mention. I guess they spend so much in Clash Squad, thus they're using all these skills. But speaking of skills, we have Brian, the MVP, with that Coda that was able to bring so much. Wolfra as well, and Kelly being used for a little bit of speed when you are crouched. So it's quite different, again, as you did mention, a little bit of meta, and well, I want to see more. I want to see if this is something that will work, but compared to what we've seen in other region, I guess they need to make those adjustments.
Yeah, they definitely need to make the adjustments here on the passive skills. The active skill with the Coda, obviously very helpful. Wolfra, on the other hand, it's been such a long time since we saw the use of Wolfra. But you see, the most important thing is Brian used this combination of active and passive skills, and it's working for him. 7 eliminations, 6 assists, 8 headshots, and that's exactly what the Wolfra helps you with, right? Every elimination, you get a little bit of extra damage, and you also protect yourself. You protect your own head from those headshot damage as well. So it worked out fantastically for him. Let's take a look at the comparison here between Brian as well as Wan Shu. One revives each. The damage, on the other hand, a little bit extra from Wan Shu, but Brian is so much more efficient in converting the damage to eliminations here, Neptune.
Yeah, I mean, it's more of how to use the sniper as well, because even on going back to the passive skill, he does have the Luna in that increases the fire rate. So increased fire rate on an AC-80, that can get so much in terms of elimination, and probably even in damage as well. So quite interesting. Not so much of what we've seen in other tournaments, other teams playing it. But as you did mention, if Brian can do so much and it does match his game style, then he can do it so far. But there's a lot more option that he can do that is within meta.
Yeah, Team Fighters, although they have been fighting quite a little bit here, they are not able to keep up with Abandonados picking up the 5th spot here. Looking at the team head-to-head, 2 games each, 19 versus 14 eliminations, 14k versus 12k on the damage. Total revives, they're absolutely the same, but it makes a slight difference on the overall grand scheme of things, those placement points as well as the overall eliminations. I'm very curious to see exactly how far Team Fighters takes this, because 14 eliminations thus far, they are definitely on the upper half of the leaderboard, which means anything can change game to game here.
Yeah, let's see though. Let's see. That's one thing that we are curious to see. And well, before we head there, we are going to see on overall stats. We know that Abandonados has 15 elimination already, and the total elimination is now at 80. Earlier, was it a more or less? But I guess it's 56 or around that 50s. But this is more. A lot of engagement has happened. This is a cue. This is just proof of what we mentioned earlier, because of a lot of engagement happening from all sides of the map. It goes down to those elimination, even the knockdowns as well as damage. So I guess the teams are getting that groove on. I think more will show once we get to Nexterra.
More eliminations, more points. I absolutely love it. There's a revival platform. There's those vending machines where you can buy those revival cards. Just bring them back in if you take too big of a risk. But of course, you need to make sure you've got the resources, you've got the free fire coins in your pocket to bring those revives in as well, and you don't get stuck in an unfortunate situation like the players on the side of RNKTZ, Rosario Central. You know, one of the biggest weakness from these teams is not just purely with their gunfights, it's those rotations, Neptune, because when you get stuck in a sticky situation, there's no vending machines around you. You've got those coins, but you can't buy those revives. Now you need to travel across the battlefield to look for a vending machine, and you get shot halfway there. And that's something that we did not see Abandonados do. Their rotation circles are always coming across vending machine after vending machine. These players, whether or not they have mastered the map, they have definitely mastered their rotation, and I want to see a little bit more from them, but I also do want to see the other teams kind of catch up with Abandonados in a bit.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, if this team is leading the pack in terms of overall standing, that is something that they need to catch up on. But going into the match standings, Abandonados with a total of 27 points, followed by BBC News. And when we thought that it was just like only one player remaining in here from BBC News on that final moment, I guess they already put in so much in terms of elimination. So there's a lot of things that's happening. Good on T-Rex though, that they managed to fight back after what happened earlier, as well as I guess Team Fighters. With Team Fighters here coming back after getting 5th place, not so much of really placement or elimination has been taken, but I guess this can bring them a little bit higher when it's add up an overall standing.
Yeah, we hope we don't confuse you, because we have actually sorted this table through the rank points. We just wanted to see which were the teams that were getting into that final circle. Of course, the total points on that far right-hand corner, we can take a spot on that as well. But you are absolutely right, Neptune. We will be able to see the overall standings in a little bit later on. But this is a good way to sort out the table, right? Because we want to see who are the teams who are capable of getting into that final circle. Yes, you can take the eliminations, but if you can't get to the final circle, you're going to have a problem. For example, Team Smoke. They got smoked, although they were able to smoke quite a number of players out there.
Yeah, I mean, that's one thing, though, that you need to find as well, because the battle is about survivability. But as we look into the overall standings, 2 teams has managed to risen already.
Oh, yeah.
It is Abandonados as well as TF Esports with the Booyah, but you did mention about Smoke, and they are in there. As we often say, AJ, no Booyah, no problem, because they are in 2nd place, very close to Abandonados.
Yeah, amen, brother. No Booyah, no problem. And this is Smoke kind of proving that theory, right? That you don't really need to get into that final circle that too often if you've got the elimination capability. But this is going to be a problem in the grand finals for Smoke if they cannot consistently reach that final circle and fight for the Booyah, because if you can end that grand finals with 200 points, but if you've got no Booyah, you do not get crowned the champion. This is something Smoke needs to prepare for before we get to the end of our journey here in the FFUSC, mainly because we do not have a long marathon to run. Even on a daily basis, we've only got these 4 games, so you don't get a lot of retries if you falter.
Yeah, exactly. And, well, as we look at the map schedule, we have Bermuda being taken by TF Esports, and then Solara being taken by Abandonados. But I'm seeing a pattern here. Logos that has mask on is getting that Booyah. So let's see, though. I'm not seeing any logos that has, or probably BBC News. That is another team that has a mask on or a ninja in their logos. But kidding aside, teams really need to work hard. They really need to survive further.
The only reason why you see TF Esports and Abandonados wearing masks is because between them you've got smoke. And when there's a lot of smoke around you, you gotta wear your mask, bro. If not, you'll start coughing. But stupid jokes aside, Nexterra is gonna be game number 3. We all know Nexterra, lots of compounds to work with. You've got grab labs as well. And if anybody is unfortunate enough to pick that as their drop spot, good luck to them. I really, really do not like fighting when gravity is not involved in there. It's so difficult to determine exactly where your opponents are going to be. But of course, if you are a pro in aiming, and which at this point of time, we see quite a number of these players quite proficient with that. You see that on Team Smoke, you see that on Abandonados, even Trex Gaming and TF Esports. But it's going to be so much more crucial here in Nexterra because the use of glue walls will definitely be reduced, and you will see a lot of them in that final circle just due to the fact that we've got so much of compound for that natural cover here now.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, this is one of the map that has so many compounds scattered around, and it gives you that advantage to be able to rotate silently. So unless you are spotted by the binoculars or any other skills that will give information, that's something that you'll be able to do. But as you can see, the flight path right now coming from the south to the north, and well, Grab Labs is quite near, so I guess someone might be able to take that unless they decided not to, but I guess Rosario Central wants to do that. But Intellect Center, another part of the map wherein a lot of teams are taking, and most of the hot drops are happening in other competitions. So let's see if this is something that is being eyed on by the teams right here.
Yeah, absolutely. And Abandonados looking for that blue circle on the drop. But X-World will say, hell no, we are gonna back away towards Rushdown. But with them changing their minds last minute, not only does it give the advantage to Abandonados, that also puts them in a little bit of risk because at Rushdown, we have a hot drop. And there is a potential here that they do bump into the players on the side of Dark Hunters. So we got to catch up with them in a little bit. BBC News, on the other hand, will have a breaking news for all of us as they spot out a couple of players on the side of Smoke dropping into their compound. And you know that means that they're going to look to smoke them out in a little bit. Unfortunately, I don't see the numbers on the side of Smoke just yet.
Yeah, it might be a spread drop right now. And, well, it's a couple of players already here. 16, 17, 18, trying to move in onto the other side. So this is a pinch play coming from Team Smoke. And BBC News, this is smart, I would say, for Smoke. Because since they are spread around, they are spotted as well. It limits BBC News to be able to move around and loot some more. So Smoke has a disadvantage, as well as they know everyone is in one compound. So the position that they're taking they can manage to take down one and then rush later on.
Yeah, absolutely, man. The only defensive advantage that these boys have in here on their compound for BBC News is the fact that they are all grouped in together. But like you pointed out, they don't get to loot up this compound, and therefore the super advantage to Smoke. But of course, if BBC News does manage to spot out anybody on the rotation from the side of Smoke, they've got that high ground advantage, easy headshots from here. It all depends on who takes that first shot and who starts off this engagement on that positive note. Team Smoke has to be really careful with these rotations as they continue to look for loot out here in this compound. But as you can see, it's a Mexican standoff. They are just waiting for the other side to make a mistake. And Abandonados, on the other hand, not waiting for that at all. Starting off the game with the first elimination onto a player from the side of X-World.
Yeah, a lot of engagement happening on the other side, and Mario responds. But as we go back, Smoke right now, they're slowly grouping up damage onto Mimic, and this is the cue. Information relayed, but Chiwi will not be able to, will not be taken down that easily because of that basic therapy, and managed to take down Crazy in the battle.
Yeah, this is exactly what I mean, man. High ground advantage. Shiwiwi in the house. But unfortunately for the rest of them down at the bottom, they can't get super aggressive just yet because BBC News is handling the situation like a champ. One player lost on their side. Chiwiwi with the Thompson. Rogado here with the Vector. High rate of fire, and T-Rex eliminated in the 12th spot. I was looking forward to seeing them perform a little bit better, and they will definitely drop from their 4th rank in the overall leaderboard here on Game 3.
Yeah, it's tough though. It's tough for T-Rex, not doing good on the first match, and now being taken out a little bit early. But going back to the battle, Smokes right now not even deterred at this point, but Crazy will be taken down. You'll see Uelkis can't manage to get any shots because of that small window in front of him. So I guess Smoke will be dispersed. They will be backing away and prioritizing and reviving their teammates, but we still have Mex Loco on the hunt, waiting for them to make a move.
I mean, big props to BBC News. Oh, but the revival for Smoke has been brought in, all thanks to that vending machine. So this is numbers advantage now here for Team Smoke, and it looks like the revive player is going to be dropping right back into this compound, ready for the battle. Now this one pushes the initiative back, to the side of BBC News. What's Crazy going to do, man? This might just be a very crazy play. He's got the P90 in hand. High rate of fire, drops down, loses 10 HP, and BBC taking a very big risk here. He only has one glue wall to work with in him.
Yeah, I mean, well, I guess he really trusts his teammates, but with that grenade coming from that throw gun will make them back away. So, again, the standoff continues. Smoke not yet being taken down, not even rushing in. So, I guess this is BBC News being stuck right here, and they're very far from the rest of the teams. So, I guess, well, they have to wait. First, going into the second phase of the circle, this is something that would not hurt them, but from the other side, Uelkis' patience definitely is a virtue. That is what he has been waiting for.
And that was the opener. Here comes the rush from the rest of the players as BBC News gets sprayed down to the ground and eliminated. The standoff finally comes to an end as Crazy, the crazy guy who was brought in on the revival, hits a triple on the eliminations for Team Smoke.
Oh, let's see now. Team Smoke's not out of the woods just yet because TF Esports will be in the mix. Because of the time that they spent waiting in for that elimination, they might be the next in the target. But Mendoza Cuz SVD didn't manage to take down Mex Loco. But they do have the high ground advantage as well as information that where the opponents are. So Team Smoke doesn't have to go crazy despite of them having Crazy in the team.
Yeah, great use of the Riptide rhythm, all thanks to the Skylar, but Mex Loco too quick on his feet with the very fast rotation coming on through here. They've got a vending machine to play with, but the problem is TF Esports, they are super solid on those takedowns. And it seems like TF wants to make a long rotation here to meet the players on the side of Smoke. They want to force an engagement, Dinoculus use, 2 players scanned out. And then revival on the way back in here as well. Smoke needs to play some sort of either recovery or retreat up against TF Esports. I don't know if they're ready for a big battle just yet, Nip.
Yeah, I mean, they just finished a battle earlier, but I guess they're not backing off. We've seen them being patient. We've seen them waiting before a takedown, before a team has been eliminated, and I guess that's still the plan for Team Smoke. The only question is, how much time are they going to spend right here? Because Intellect Center is quite far from where the next phase is circle, so they do have that bridge to work with, but the time that they will spend will lose all those meds, resources as well, and their teams might be waiting for them once they cross over, as they are not going away in this fight. A pinch might be happening, and GK will be taken down. Again, Uelkis is the guy who's making this work.
Oh, Mex Loco, MP40, but the circle now pressuring them. And the SMG manages a takedown, and the second knock comes through back-to-back for the squad as well. Mex Loco going loco on the squad of TF Esports, and they cannot stand the smoke. They have to run on in, and the blue circle now pressuring both the squads, and Team Smoke smokes TF where they stand. No squad elimination just yet, though, as they make this big rotation. Uriel getting the hell out of there. He wants no further part of this battle.
Yeah, he wants to bring back his teammates. He wants to get away from Smoke and try to breathe a little bit easier later on. But he's just eating up microwaves at this point. So let's see as to where he is going and where or will he be able to revive as much more, because he only have 400 in terms of coins. A lot of engagement, though, has happened already on the other side. And I think Abandonados is one of the teams that's being targeted by a lot. Probably World because they are the ones in the #1 spot. But did mention that we don't know, or they don't know, if anyone or who is they are going against. But I guess this is something that Abandonados needs to get away. They need to be passive at this point if they want to maintain that #1 spot.
I mean, so TF is going to be able to revive one player here based on the amount of coins Uriel has. And with this one revival purchase back in here, he brings back Mendoza crew. And for the rest of the players, we will have to spot them in a little bit. Laligaru brought back in here by Abandonados as well. So we get to see a little bit of high-octane action from the Master Abandonados in a little bit. X-World fighting two teams at the same time. And it looks like they have started smoking smoke out of nowhere. Yolkis up against Survivor! And they all get sprayed down thanks to the SMG. The MP5 probably on that level 2 or 3 now for the side of X-World, as they just wipe the floor with the players on the side of Smoke. But no full squad wipe just yet. They've got one more survivor.
Yeah, we have 16, 17, 18 still alive on the other side, but spotted by the crews, but no chase will be happening. RNKTZ, though, patiently waiting above this statue, and let's see if they can stay in there, but not so much, because the circle just avoided everyone. Only Alexis managed to step in, but the unfortunate factor for Alexis is he is solo, so not quite sure what the plan is. He might have some coins and heading to boxing gym to revive his teammates, but a lot of teams already rushing in. That's what happened when the zone shows up.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And two more players here for the side of Smoke. One on the insurance policy, just brought back in here on the revival. And one final survivor from that onslaught. He has two early engagements for Smoke. Yes, they do get the elimination points. Probably to continue climbing up the ladder, but the possibility of a booyah in this game looks like it's really low on the list as well here. So it's still going to be the story of no booyah, no problem for Smoke. But let's see exactly how far they get with those placement points in a little bit as well. RNKTZ, much better game this time around, but still a little bit of a ways behind this next circle. And they've got a little bit of company approaching from the back as well.
Let's see, though, if they'll be able to spot out or probably eliminate them, because X-World is wanting to go in for the fight. The Dark Hunters on the other side, and the takedown has happened. Dark Hunters, despite of them only having 2 players, they managed to hit them from afar and stack up on elimination. Mark, though, will try to be silent, move in silently onto that flank, and the crews might be taken down, and there you have it! XMA takedown on the launch pad, but also gives him a chance to be taken down.
Yeah, Team Fighter, unfortunately, will not be able to fight any longer. They get wiped out. Perez too low on that HP. And Max Loco once again going loco out there on the battlefield. And Smoke is back in action, baby. How's that for a recovery?
Full squad recovery and still on the roll. And let's see if Smoke will be able to get so much. Gavilanes being taken down. Now, 16, 17, 18, the guy who made it work for Team Smoke. Now they are in the middle of next phase of the circle, and a few more might give them so much in terms of elimination that they will be the leader after this game.
And I told you, Neptune, Rosario Central, these boys are pissed. Escolta, XK, Palmer, Irvin, massive numbers of eliminations this time round for Rosario Central. They're aiming for the #1 spot. They're currently ranked 10th, so I wonder how far can they climb in. They've just got scanned out here by the Dinoculus, but it's not going to matter to them at all. Massive numbers of elimination, and Escolta, 0 eliminations in the previous game, 9 right now, down on the ground. Does he expire? Does he get picked up? It's all up to Team Phantom as they engage with the team of Rosario Central.
Yes, Escolta will be left right now because Team Phantom is very close into, will be taken down by Fabian with that AWM and will not be picked up. Escolta, though, will be recovered and they will have a sniper on them. So Rosario Central will be backing away from this fight against Team Phantom, and they will be able to get Boxing Gym as their compound. But on the other side, we also have X-World slowly creeping in, and the huge compound of Boxing Gym is not not really great in terms of hiding out because there's so much openings, and because of how big it is, it's easy to get into and take you down.
Absolutely, man. And I believe Rosario Central, just with the eliminations alone, should have been able to jump into the top 5, but it's all going to be dependent on how the rest of the teams end this game as well. And XWell hopping on in. XUX hopping in for the battle. Xkane meets him halfway. M590, Abandonados dropping the game after walking away with a booyah on Solara in 7th. Not a lot of points this time around. A huge opportunity for Rosario Central to play for the top 3 now. XWell, final player on the wheel in. And X-Mario, although the VSK can hit strong up against 4 players on the side of Rosario Central, this man stands no chance. The blue now leaving him high and dry, tagged up as well with the Homer. He's been spotted out, and GGWP for Z Mario.
Yeah. That's what's running in my mind right now. This is the situation that Mario is, and he'll be taken down. Horizon Line, will he be able to survive? But even if he picks himself up, will he be able to recover? That is a no. And there we have it. One team eliminated. Team Smoke being taken out on 5th, or make that 5th, and X World on 4th because of Mario. Now, Rosario Central, good rotation against R and KTZ. And the moment the engagement happened on Phantom and KTZ, that is where Rosario Central might be able to go for a third party.
Absolutely, man. And the ones who are in the deep end of the water now is Phantom. They thought they had the circle to their side. But Circle moving towards Rosario Central, and Escolta with the AWM. Shot from afar. The recovery play could be made here. Meliodas picked right back up. Riptide Rhythm breaking down their defense. And Escolta with the follow-up in the VSK as well. Another Riptide Rhythm exposing the players. Capo. 1 tag, 2 tag. Down you go, Escolta on freaking fire as Rosario Central wipes the 4 clean with Phantom. 1 final survivor, but it matters not. This game has been won by Rosario.
Oh, not only by Rosario, Escolta himself, 15 elimination already.
Oh, mama.
And that AWM is really making work. Even our KTZ couldn't fight back that easily because it's really tough to go against this sniper, and we might be seeing the rise of another best sniper in Free Fire.
Mini Uzi now from the back, and Escolta still as dangerous as ever. Spotting out the final player, going in for the pickup into, gets the Max 7 layout, and Rosario Central with the booyah and a massive one to crack it all the way up to the leaderboard. Top 3 guaranteed, but can they take that number 1 spot just with this game 3 after crashing out twice, Neptune? It will be magical if they make it.
Definitely magical. This is something that Rosario Central is proving to everyone. In this FFUSC right now, you can put up so much in terms of elimination and still manage to grab that booyah. And that is because of Escolta right here. Massive amount of elimination and the support by the rest of the team just to make sure that he's not taken down that easily. He was knocked down earlier, but priority is for him to be picked up because they know the capacity of this guy.
Absolutely, man. For Rosario Central this time around, it was a little bit of a Hindi movie climax sort of a thing. Kabhi Khushi, Kabhi Gum. Sometimes you're happy, sometimes you're sad. First 2 games, Rosario Central was a little bit unhappy. They were a little bit sad because the rotation first time round, they got caught out from the back. I forgot exactly who was it that approached them from the back after Rosario Central had made a great rotation, you know, getting into that final circle. They got denied that booyah. Game number 2, early exit. Game 3, holy mama, they showed us how to play. What a game. And Escolta, previous game, this man had no eliminations. Walking away with 15 in this one, on the other hand, it's mind-blowing, Neptune.
It's insane. It's insane. I mean, we seldom see one player pop off just like this, as Escolta has done. And he's not even a rusher. He is a sniper. He's getting them from afar. And even like against, was it Dark Hunters? Or was it the ones across on Boxing Gym that he is targeting? 1 knock, 2 knock, Riptide Rhythm, it's like he's playing music out there, and they are the drums in that beat.
Absolutely, man. I mean, not skipping a beat. He had 2 snipers in hand. He had the Skylar. That Riptide Rhythm came in very, very handy for him. I mean, I'm expecting a typical sniper build-up on his side. Very, very strong with those shots. I'm expecting to see a Maro there. I'm expecting to see a Moko there as well. But, you know, overall, the active skill on Escolta performed very, very well this time round. And the man was on fire, right? There was close to 0 lag between his gameplay as he was switching between the 2 snipers as well as his active skill. That was Free Fire perfection right out there. He put on a masterclass for everyone. Let's take a look at the MVP. Gee, I wonder who could it be?
No one else. No one else but Escolta, especially for the elimination that he have. And, well, you did mention about the skills that he has. We have the Skylar, we have the Raphael, Maro, and Moko. Standard sniper build.
Yeah,
but not a standard player.
Man, no.
This guy was on fire. AWM, you did mention double AWM coming from this guy, and the damage, the highest that I've seen so far, 8,161.
My goodness me, crazy stuff. And like you said, standard, typical sniper build, not really a typical game for a sniper. Massive damage. Crazy eliminations, huge on the assist and the headshot. And this man wasn't getting a lot of assists because he was just getting the job done on his own. Getting those knocks, getting those eliminations. Everything was being done by him. And of course, the weapon that got the most amount of damage and eliminations is AWM. But the assist from the VSK, it definitely needs to be mentioned as well. Running the double snipe setup, this guy, crazy good. X-Wall, they are worlds apart on the stats comparison here between Escolta and Z Mario.
You're always missing that last note. You're always missing that last note.
I'm sorry.
I'm here to make sure that you complete that. Rosario Central as our Booyah takers going against RNKTZ. I mean, these kids, I know they started slow, but I guess they're getting in the groove. This is one thing that we seldom see. Some of the teams being taken down early because they're lost in the points from the first few match. They just go aggressive. They go in head on, and then they lose more points. But RNKTZ, it's a different story. They went in for survivability, and that's how they got those 20 elimination overall, all throughout the 3 maps. And I guess more of it coming from that previous game.
Yeah, absolutely, right. And RNKTZ, I'm still expecting a lot from the Wonder Kids. I hope to see more from them. We haven't seen them in a lot of battles, but as long as we see them climbing up the overall leaderboard, in the grand scheme of things, we're going to see them for a longer set of time in both the knockout as well as the group stages. And hopefully later on in the grand finals as well, we get to spot them. But this guy, man, this team, I have to say, Rosario Central, most number of eliminations picked up here, 29 in this game. Total eliminations on this matchup, a total of 76. Dude, almost half went to one team. That one team is called Rosario Central.
And that's one thing that we are looking forward to. I mean, you did mention that they have good form in terms of rotation from earlier's match, but now it's not just rotation that they're working on. So I guess despite of them not really getting high ranks, high placement from that, they got the groove on how the other teams can be taken advantage of once Escolta is on fire. And that's what they did. They just worked on getting good positions, mostly on high ground, mostly on the rooftop, and that 2-2 split as well as a 1-3 split. And I'm not talking about like spreading around. The splits is just based on the levels. We have Escolta on the rooftop, and then the rest of the team's just guarding him, making sure that no one sneaks in, and that's where he is working.
Absolutely, man. I mean, Escolta, you know, I love seeing some of these players not perform at all on a game and then make a massive comeback. Escolta's just one of those guys. And look at this, in one game, just one freaking game, this squad of Rosario Central hops onto the top. 14,000 on the damage from this one game. That's like 3 team stats combined for the squad of Rosario Central. 41 points. And, you want to compare them to T-Rex down at the bottom. Only that single elimination, the point that they pulled away, just like BBC as well. This is just a crazy worlds apart sort of stats here that we can see. But it's only game 3. I think, the US Championship has got so much more to offer us now.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we've seen how each evolve for each round. But as we go into the overall standings, it is Rosario Central taking that #1 spot away from the other teams like Abandonados, even Team Smoke. Well, I guess Team Smoke is still good in the second place despite of not getting any booyah because they worked so hard. But because of what Escolta did, they were catapulted. Rosario Central catapulted to that #1, the rest being pushed down.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, Smoke still getting it done. No booyahs, no problem. Kind of hanging on there. And before we move on into the final game, I think Smoke has positioned themselves just nice in shooting range for that #1 spot before we bring the day to an end. Can we see Smoke get the deed done? Because once again, this is a major test for these squads, right? Yes, you're going to be able to pull away the points. You're going to be able to pull away those eliminations. But if you do not get to score those booyahs at the grand finals, you're not going to be crowned champions. And this is exactly what Smoke needs to remember. Rosario Central has shown us that they can play both the eliminations as well as the booyah. We are still waiting for Smoke to prove us on that booyah side.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, if Smoke will be able to get this, then that's something that they can work on, especially once they are in grand finals. But maintaining themselves on the second place, especially very close against Rosario Central, only 8 points between them, and they're not too bad in terms of elimination. They were the leaders of elimination before Escolta made that huge run. So I guess Smoke is really up to get on that, and we know how it is. Once you get the booyah, at some point you get cursed and you are taken down a little bit too early. So I guess that's one thing that Smoke hasn't felt just yet because they haven't taken the booyah, but Rosario Central might see it on the next map.
I would like to bring a little bit of comparison to the table here. Escolta alone in that one game in game 3 has gotten more eliminations than Team Fighters, all the players on Team Fighters, from 3 games. How crazy is that? T-Rex Gaming has got 16 eliminations from 3 maps played. Escolta just picked 15 on 1 map. Escolta is just on another level right now. But is this a one-hit wonder? Can we see some consistency? Can we see this champ get it done once again? Or is it a map factor, right? Is this just a map where he performs really, really decent on? We need to check that out as well. We don't get to see that today because there's no random map that brings back the exact same map twice in a day. So we'll have to wait and see on the next day's play for the squad. But of course, phenomenal play that has given them the opportunity to jump into the #1 spot. Now is the challenge of keeping that #1 spot now.
Yeah, definitely. Well, we have to go in for a quick break before we head in and find out if they'll be able to maintain or take that #1 spot again. Once we return, we go in for our final map. It is Kalahari, and that would be the last game for today. So, see you in a bit. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the show, and this is the Free Fire USA Championship 2025. We are down to our last map, and we've seen a lot of shakeups already on our leaderboard. The only question is, will anyone maintain their top spot, or will it be changed once again? Macadacaster says, I am Neptune the Gentleman Garcia, joined by the Mustachio AJ.
Neptune, I expected some good games, but we are getting phenomenal stuff out here. For Smoke, no booyah, no problem. It's their final opportunity to grab one and walk away with it. We saw Rosario Central play a decent game 1, abysmal game 2, and a phenomenal game 3. And that's exactly what we are expecting out here as well, right? You falter, no problem, but it's how you make your way back up to the top. We started off our day here with TFE Sports on Bermuda picking up that booyah, Abandonados picking up the booyah on Solara, and a record-breaking and setting game here for the side of Rosario Central on Nexterra as they walked away with 29 eliminations, the booyah for a total of 41 points in one game.
Definitely, I mean, that is record-breaking. The highest that we've seen so far in tournament, mostly it is around the 35-ish points, but with what Escolta did in Nexterra, it is next level, I would say.
Yeah.
But in Kalahari, this is another chance for him to really shine, because we know how it is in Kalahari because of the high ground, the elevation that we have. It is a sniper's nest, and, well, I am hoping that Rosario Central chooses Refiner as their drop spot, because at some point for the other maps we've seen, they go in for the edge and then slowly moving in, and they don't have that much high ground advantage to give Escolta much of view on the snipes.
Yeah, absolutely. And well, Kalahari does have some high ground, but a lot of the grounds, your high ground advantage can be quickly nullified, all thanks to the hook gun. Any one of the players, even the rushes, can get up to you fairly quick. For the snipers, they're going to have a little bit of a problem, because as the players try to reposition, the hook gun once again comes into action. So you got to be really sharp with that manual aim on the headshots to be able to stop these players dead in their tracks. And I do agree with you, Escolta players like him will have a little bit of a challenge. But my, oh my, a very skewed flight path down towards the south here, which is going to keep places like Old Hampton Shrines and Council Hall pretty much empty. But the blue circle push coming through for X-World, I like this.
Yeah, let's see though if that is something they can take advantage of, because they will need to deal with two teams later on coming from confinement, because Rosario Central already going against TFE Sports early into this fight. Not quite sure if they do have the weapons available already, or will they still be left out because Escolta doesn't have any snipers. But this is a different story. We have 3 teams, make that 4 together with Nino coming from Abandonados, who's already running away, but the chase is on. BBC News going against Gavilanes, and Gavilanes is something, a team that is not doing so well in this tournament.
Abandonados screaming out, abandon, 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 to get out of there. Good on them, because BBC was waiting to find a little bit of a victim out there on the battlefield, and it wasn't the Abandonados that they caught on to, it was Gavilanes. So losing one player, Gavilanes choosing to back away from this engagement. And I think BBC News is not going to go in here for the hunt just yet. But look at this, man. Gavilanes, they get out of the pan, straight into the fire. Abandonados waiting for them. Abandonados who abandoned the initial 3-way fight to pick up their loot. So they are ready for the engagement. And now from afar, it looks like the LNG is not going to put on enough damage. The Coda has been popped on the side of Abandonados, and you can see that sends Gavilanes scattering instantaneously.
And that's tough though for Gavilanes. I mean, they didn't get any points from Bermuda and Solara, and only 4 points coming from Nexterra. And if they are taken down a little bit too early once again, they will be left on the 12th spot. after this game. So Abandonados, I guess it's a smart move from them to get away from Abandonados, but spreading out too thin, that is tough for them. That like not giving them a chance to really fight back if in case Abandonados goes in for the fight. But there goes another engagement on the other side. Laligaru going in against BBC News. Spread out, no problem. Abandonados can handle themselves.
Gavilanes, on the other hand, I think this... I cannot believe the fighters are out. The fighter just got knocked down. Unfortunately, KO punch delivered. And that means they will not continue to climb up the leaderboard. TFE Sports still in the fight with their one booyah in the day. But the fighters will not be able to contend for one. Abandonados will abandon Brian, forced by RNKTZ here with those shots. Gavilanes trying to take advantage, but it will still be RNKTZ taking advantage of this chaotic situation between three teams here.
Hell, let's see though if RNKTZ can get so much more. But for Gavilanes, I mean, Cactus has been taken down, recovered, is now far away from the rest of the team. So this is insurance for Gavilanes at this point. For Abandonados, they have the 2 points already and managed to bring back 2 of their players as well after those engagements. So let's see on what rotation Abandonados will be taken right now. Vehicles, 4 racks, be able to spot on one compound as well as to give them a few more information in terms of what they can do in terms of rotation. But on the other side, we have TFE Sports Chiki Mag 7 following the need elimination onto Smoke, and let's see on how well can they survive, because Smoke is really bringing on, but another team on in the fight. Smoke will be taken out.
Unfortunate, man. Smoke got smoked. No booyah. That's a problem. So, 3 games they failed. 4th game, I thought they would be able to make it into the final circle to contend for it. But unfortunately, they get taken out in the 11th spot with just 2 eliminations in their hands. So they will not be able to grab that number 1 spot away from Rosario Central. And Abandonados will have an opportunity to overtake them. RNKTZ has an opportunity as well, but of course they have to get to the final circle. Darius meeting Captors 500 halfway through. Down at the bottom, Alexis looking for one as well. RNKTZ hopping on in, and Abichuela gets caught from the back, and T-Rex did not expect this as RNKTZ drops by to wreck their day.
And Darius right now will be stuck between Gavilanes and RNKTZ, and Darius will be taken down. And there we have it. We're seeing the aggression from RNKTZ, but the takedown coming from Gavilanes. A good chance for them to go for the confirmation, but Cactus will be knocked down as well. And Lucky will be taken out. Abandonados Brian with that UMP. The pickup will not be done on Nino, but they're still on a roll for getting all those shots from afar, especially from Laligaru.
Well, Tringias going to drop down to the ground. Can we see a glue wall here? Laligaru. AWM, dangerous spot now. Finding the reposition. This is that hook gun reposition that we were talking about earlier on as well. But now he has put himself out in the open. Laligaru still taking advantage here. Tringia very low on that HP. Brian has already made that rotation around already. Abandonados looking to take RNKTZ out of the equation here. And it's that backstab by Silent, protecting the rest of his team members, but the damage has been put in already. Abandonados on that revival. Laligaru holding the squad together here as he finds Silent out in the open. Riptide Rhythm breaks down the defenses. Mag 7 in his hands. No, can he turn it around? Yes, he can! And out of nowhere, 09 turns the tables, and Abandonados wishes they have abandoned that fight a little bit earlier.
Oh, RNKTZ showing up differently right now. Rax will try to go and fight back or probably hide away. But AWM in hand might be able to take down Tromia at this point. But the split coming from RNKTZ, just to make sure that Rax doesn't have any opening from any of their players. And he is forced to get away. Quick recovery with that inhaler as well as the meds right now. But there's nowhere to go. RNKTZ going in for the rush right now. And Rax might be in trouble. Abandonados might be abandoned at this point.
Yeah, man. I mean, dude, Abandonados, they deserve it, bro. They were hitting down on these players of RNKTZ. They were going in for the kill. They were trying to rip their lives away. But that turnaround from 09, that M590, a little bit of a mistake from Laligaru as well, thinking it's a 1v1, going in for the rush. He's the sniper. He's not supposed to be pulling off maneuvers like that. And that instantly put Abandonados in a very terrible position. But of course, thankfully, Rex had got that vending machine, had enough money in his pockets to pull the whole squad back in here for a complete revival. So we will get to see Abandonados a little bit later on as well. But a phenomenal play from RNKTZ. They've also got a vending machine to play with, which means full team revival over there as well, as they sit in the #1 spot right now with 12 eliminations.
Yeah, good start for RNKTZ. They've come a long way, really, from not really doing so much, and then little by little, they are evolving. And this is what we love to see, how a team, like, from the ground up, they're making their way. Survivability was their first target. Now they are bringing in all those elimination, and it's already on 12. But Abandonados not out of the woods just yet. Laligaru has been taken down. Rax will be taken down. Nino will be taken down. Abandonados eliminated at 9th.
Abandonados abandons our final game in the 9th spot, all thanks to Phantom, who dropped down like a ton of nuke on their heads. And unfortunately, Abandonados were just trying to recover from their previous revival, so they did not have enough loot in hand to take that fight. Gavilanes, on the other hand, about to get snuffed here by RNKTZ, looking for their 13th elimination. Took 3 guys to take down Captuso 500, and that's exactly how tanky he is out there with his build. But fortunately, they also bring in their final player on that revival here, Tringhea, joining the squad back with a P90 in hand, which means RNKTZ can make a decent push for the Booyah on this Kalahari map.
Oh, exactly. I mean, they are fired up. They have a lot of elimination and gathered a lot of loots against those survivors that didn't survive at all. Phantom, though, they managed to bring back Oscar L, and T-Rex, 2 eliminations already, managed to spot 4 players, and this is RNKTZ. Now, the only question is, are they ready for the fight? They did have this assault bunker to loot up, but I don't think they need to. They can hang back, they can rotate further, and probably use that zip line to go in, but no! They're playing JK for the takedown, and I guess this is a start for RNKTZ to be taken down.
Yeah, and T-Rex has got a decent spot here, but they have to be careful. They're going in for the Rush Neptune. I don't know if this is a smart idea here from T-Rex. Let's see what the Trogon in the hands of Russo X can pull off here. And they all get clipped by the A124. This was a mistake, a big one. And T-Rex getting eaten up here by RNKTZ, wrecking them halfway down. Final survivor on the side of T-Rex, and they just dropped the ball big time.
RNKTZ in a role to eliminate another team at this point. Player JK won't be joking around, and T-Rex out on 8. We still have 7 teams remaining, and as we can see, RNKTZ, despite of them being outside of the next phase of the circle, they have a good chance to go in for rotate. The question is, will they take on Phantom or BBC News? Because BBC News is a good target, especially as they are preoccupied with a lot of teams already gatekeeping them.
X-World now in a lot of trouble, but has got the launch pad to get themselves into a safer spot. RNKTZ now tanking the damage from the circle, looking to take the jump pad in, but will get shot at from the opposite side by Z Mario. AC-80 in hand. An SVD response from RNKTZ. Tranky out with the PSK as well, but BBC from up top, dealing in all of those shots, stopping RNKTZ from taking a player away from the side of X-World.
Yeah, let's see though. RKTZ right now moves back on the other side, one already on the flank, and not quite sure if the two split this far away can work for them. Elimination overall. There's a lot being taken by RNKTZ. They're very close to what we've seen earlier, but I mean, it's not just one man working. all of the players in the team just putting in so much, but that Raiden will be a downfall for one of the players though, but the rest of the team's RNKTZ rushes in with that monster truck because of the monster of points that they have.
Yeah, BBC News falling on the ground here. And it's all thanks to them that RNKTZ were able to make that rotation into this compound right below the players of Rosario Central, or else it would have just been Rosario Central gatekeeping the players of RNKTZ. A little bit of luck going into this play as well. X-Wall pulling in a tad bit of distraction, and that forced them to lose two players. But from afar, Z Mario, AC80, pulling in a little bit of revenge play here, but a good glue wall set up by the players on the side of RNKTZ to pick up their members. But from up top, the question is, does Rosario Central take advantage? Answer is no for the time being. And Z Mario does not take advantage with those knocks. Those knocks stay as knocks. No points for Z Mario. Just a little bit of flashy plays.
Yeah, I mean, it could have been a takedown already, and that would be the downfall, or slightly a downfall for RNKTZ, because it's very crucial that they maintain their 4-man strong, but unfortunately, one didn't survive. So that's one thing that the other teams like Rosario Central can work with, but as you can see, there is a split up happening for RNKTZ that Gavilanes is taking advantage of.
A beautiful play here on the defense. M590, 09 Itzy looking for the shot. Drops yet another glue wall. Peeks around the glue wall. Finds absolutely nobody. And a 2v1 puts him in a tough little spot and gets turned on by the MP40. Rate of fire out of that SMG. Winning it out for Alexis. But can he hold on to his feet? 18 eliminations here for RNKTZ. But now they've met their match after so many engagements. Hook gun sending silent right up top. And it looks like he's tanking the damage here to get to the vending machine. And Palmer stops him, wrecking the chances for a booyah on the side of RNKTZ.
Yeah, I mean, the priority-wise is to bring back their teammates, but not really looking at which phase of the circle they are. Fifth really hurts, and we've seen how it is. RKTZ, it's strong here. The only one remaining going against Forever, and on outside of the blue, with all those noise, that will be trouble. Alexis, though, being taken down by Fabian from the other side as Cain finish him off, and Rosario Central, despite of only having 2 players, they're not out of the game just yet. Oscar L might be the next one being taken down right here from Phantom and Changhia with that God nade and for the elimination.
XK now snuffed out, and it looks like Rosario Central will not get the booyah out of this one as well, unless of course Intu pulls off a phenomenal game eventually. But Gavilanes, after struggling 3 games in a row, have finally made it into the final circle for the first time today. How much can they pull away? They have to contend against Phantom for this booyah. RNKTZ still surviving as well, with 2 players on the opposite side of the battlefield as Phantom finds player after player, snuffing them out. Gavilanes not standing a chance against them at this point of time, but Hans just turning the table onto him as he takes that knock.
Yeah, Into right now, trying to go for the loot, but not quite sure if this is a smart move. HP will be going down that quickly, and he might be taken down. Gavilanes being eliminated at this point on 5th. Into still alive and kicking, recovery quite quickly. And we still have 5. Only 5 survivors remaining, and Phantom only has advantage. But Melodas, a little bit too aggressive, going in, rushing in. That would be a shot to the foot that can be taken advantage by Into to eliminate the team.
1v1v1v1, this is insane. 4 teams remaining. Every team has only a single player outside the circle. Into with the P90. Cannot seem to find the shot onto him just yet. Meliodas stepping on away. Drogon in hand. Coda pop. But the man knows where he is. Can't find the elimination. Meliodas sneaks on out. The Wukong coming in handy at the very final moment. Phantom, 18 eliminations. And Changhia, the most dangerous guy in this circle, has the M79. The grenade launcher can do a lot of damage, and Z Mario needs to be very careful, Yanap.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Z Mario would be in a good spot to be naded at this point. But Z Mario managed to survive so much longer from last time we see him alone. And I guess this is one advantage that he had with the AC-80. Trangia right now, F590 in hand, will try to go for a rotate, but needs to worry about the ones above. So this is tough. Going solo in a 1v1v1, they need to really outsmart, outplay your opponent or your opponents. That is plural.
And Trangia just used his coda, so he knows exactly where Meliodas is. He also spotted out the other player on that rotation. Meliodas tagged up by the grenade. Trangia outside the circle. Risky play. 33 HP. This monster still surviving. Has got the Superman in his hands as well. 200 HP. Back we go. Coda just got popped. He cannot use his active skill again. And it's Z Mario. And he plays the AC-80, which means he wants to keep a good distance between himself as well as Trangia. Trangia is going to be playing this safe. He's got a lot of glue walls. He wants that close range combat for that shotgun to pop a head. Z Mario has got the MP40. He's ready for a close battle as well. I'll pick the MP40, but unfortunately, the M590 just needs one connection to the head to end the game here for Mario.
Exactly, and that's the reason why Trangia is trying to go for a rush, but double things. He wants to go in onto the other side, and Trangia, not quite sure if he will be going in with the blue timing, the movement of Z Mario right now, or will he go for survivability? I don't think he will be going in for a rush. No disadvantage right there. And just going into the middle of this circle, probably waiting for Z Mario, but no. Trangia, a little bit too impatient. This might be the trouble for you, and Z Mario might be taking advantage. But the blue will be closing in. The glue wall stops everyone from their tracks, and Trangia managed to recover, and X Mario haven't.
I mean, Trangia just has so many super meds on him. 200 HP once again. Z Mario, on the other hand, does not have the capability to recover. Trangia just needs one more shot, and 590! And Trangia ends the game. 11 eliminations, and RNKTZ with the first booyah of the day on the final game of the day. Is this enough to launch them into that #1 spot? I think it might just be Neptune.
Oh, definitely. I mean, they did so much in terms of elimination. They had managed to survive longer, and I am loving the evolution of the kids right now. RNKTZ. From not doing so much, being eliminated early, now grabbing the booyah with so much of those kill points. But you know how it is. You just want to maintain this, study your opponent later on. If it wasn't for their four-man strong stepping into this final circle, they wouldn't have survived longer compared to what we've seen Z Mario do. He wasn't here all alone, still managed to survive, take that second place, and fight against anyone in front of him.
Yeah, absolutely. And it is the improvement game after game for RNKTZ. The match schedule recap once again. First booyah at Bermuda taken away by TF Esports. The Bananados hit hard on Solara, walked away with a decent game of 27 points. And then the record break-in and setting here for Rosario Central at Nexterra with a massive 41 points on that game. And of course, RNKTZ wrapping up Kalahari with a massive one for themselves as well. The only thing that might just deny RNKTZ that #1 rank is the fact that Rosario Central actually made it to that final circle, Neptune. We didn't manage to see how many eliminations they have, so that's something that we have to keep an eye on. But the improvement from RNKTZ, the climbing of the leaderboard, the never say die attitude from the squad. 5 points in game 1. 10 points in game 2, and I think about an 18-19 in game 3, and a massive one to wrap up the day. This is exactly what we want to see out of the squads game after game.
Exactly. I mean, that's one thing that we hope for. Like, test the waters from the beginning, but not so much like not really doing so much. Just test the water, try to survive, and then later on, as you get into groove, as you get into good rotation, find out how the opponents are moving. That's where you work in elimination. And specifically, that is how RNKTZ worked it out. Not so much of elimination, only 2 from Bermuda, and then they moved up to 8 in Solara, moved up to 10 in Nexterra, and we saw that like more than 20 points in Kalahari, and they did get that booyah.
Yeah, 23 eliminations plus the 12 gives them a total of 35 points. So, yep, they don't match up to the record-setting capabilities of Rosario Central with the 29 eliminations that we spotted on earlier on. But this is a massive game worth praising. And Trangia, the MVP, 11 eliminations, and the one that brought the booyah for the first time to RNKTZ as well. And mainly those eliminations actually came from a combination of play between the M590 as well as the grenade launcher from this guy. He dropped the grenade launcher in the final circle because he knew grenade launcher, area of damage, when he's going up in a 1v2, 1v3 is great. But in those 1v1 situations, he needs to play a little bit of range. He detected the fact that the M590 was not enough to guarantee the booyah for himself. He swapped out the M79 for a Scar instead, and lucky for him, he found, I think, a level 3 Scar, so that made a huge difference towards the very end.
Yeah, exactly. And how he is set up in active passive skill as well. No wonder. He is very toughed up right there.
Oh, yeah.
We have the Nairi, does have the Kairos, as well as that Joseph, and then the Coda to top it off with active skill, making sure that he spots his opponent before they make their move. That would be the winner in that situation. The one player from 4 teams right there, that would be one thing that you will need in that battle.
The two best players on this Kalahari map was Fabian and Trangia. The head-to-head between them, though, it just sets them miles apart, right? 6,000 versus 3,000 on the damage. No revives either side. Both these players survived from the start all the way down to the end, carrying their squads. Unfortunately for Fabian, Phantom just wasn't the better team in comparison to RNKTZ. 11-8 eliminations. Both these players had a very good run. And of course, Fabian just a little bit more concise with his gameplay in terms of ripping away the points for his squad versus damage.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that's one thing that can change the game at this point. Trangia really brings in a different level. 1v1v1 on a 3 team. He even managed to take down another one. But as we go into the team comparison, we have Rosario Central and RNKTZ. We did mention it was record-breaking for... record-breaking. What's happening with the record-breaking for Rosario Central, but RNKTZ is not far behind because of how well they worked it out. Even from those maps that Rosario Central didn't do so much, it is RNKTZ putting so much of elimination.
I mean, this is just insane, all right, out of North America overall. I'm in love with the teams already. We now know who are the ones to look out for, but in no means whatsoever can we kind of narrow down just to these champs alone. But of course, let's continue to highlight RNKTZ a little bit more here before we move on with the topic. 23 eliminations, they topped the charts for this final Kalahari game. Total of 77 eliminations out there. Not as impressive as Rosario Central, but like you said, when you average out the performance across 4 games, RNKTZ is hanging around with Rosario Central. Both these teams have to be on the top there. And looking at how Rosario Central got into that final circle, RNKTZ pulling away that #1 spot, of course, is going to look a little bit tough. Let's take a look and see Rosario Central, 20 points this time. So yeah, they're definitely not going to lose their #1 spot, but a great climb overall for RNKTZ.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, this is something that RNKTZ has been waiting for. We have been waiting for because of the expectation based on their age, how well they can play. And it's just showing us that despite of how much we say that they can be aggressive, they studied their opponent. They're like so matured at this point compared to what their actual age is, and that has brought them to 2nd place, very close against Rosario Central. If it wasn't for the 20 points that Rosario Central has taken, they could have taken that #1 spot after map #4.
And fun fact, the 2 super MVPs that we have spotted in the previous game as well as this one, Escolta as well as Trangia, both of these guys are 16 years old. They both just managed to go or hop over that age limit for the pro scene here in North America. And it's crazy what they can do at this age, right? We were talking about age being a factor in order to be able to go out there and dominate some of these matches. And both of them showing exactly that. led by a little bit of, phenomenal leadership in their own squads by their captains. I'm pretty sure they can take this one very far ahead. Rosario Central will be able to complete day one for Group A on that number one spot, with RNKTZ right behind them on the 69 points. Phantom on 57. Overall, no booyah, no problem for them. Abandonados here on that fourth spot with 53 points. The craziest thing is TF Esports, one booyah in hand, but on that second side of our page here.
I mean, it's tough though, because after that booyah, they didn't work. They didn't get so much points. I mean, the first map, they did get 22 points, and then it was followed by 3, by 7, not even exceeding the 7 maximum after that. So it's tough for TF Esports right now, or probably it's just because everyone else has been performing quite well. They have been evolving, they have been moving up their gameplay. Thus, TF Esports have been pushed down so many times.
Yeah, I think we can see an absolute opposite in terms of scaling between TF Esports and RNKTZ. RNKTZ started here, and then they just went up little by little. TF Esports started off here with a great booyah on Bermuda, and then they literally plunged in game number 2, and they couldn't really recover after that. And I think that's one of the risks of starting off really hot, because it's not a sprint, it is a marathon at the end of the day. Even though we don't have an extended league here with many, many days of play, it's still a marathon where you need to keep your energy levels up high, as well as your confidence through those 4 games here at the group stage. And I think it was played very, very well overall by RNKTZ in terms of the mental capacity part, right? Because they just built on their momentum, built on that confidence game after game. Like you said, kind of going out there, sussing out those teams, looking at which, exactly how aggressive we can be in this game. And they showed us what they're capable of in the final one. So I think this is just a start here for RNKTZ. I think they are waiting to show us a little bit more, Neptune.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, this is something that they've done on the fly. Yeah. Now they will have a good chance to study their opponents, how they rotated, because of the 4 matches that we have, as well as the broadcast that they can review. So that is one key factor as well for professional players. Since everything is broadcasted, there's a good chance that you can spot out like the weak links in terms of the teams. Whoever has a player that's always straggling, and that's where you start off with getting as much elimination as possible. So RNKTZ, a good chance that they can do it even better, probably even more on the next time that they went in or that they go in. But Rosario Central, this is a team that didn't slow down, especially once they got that momentum from map number 3. They were very slow in the beginning. Once they got that massive amount of points, they didn't slow down Kalahari. They still managed to get all those points. The only question is, can anyone else, out of these 2 teams, can anyone else rise up and probably beat them on the next day of battle?
Yeah, overall, I think Rosario Central only performed badly. And I think we can say badly based on the number of points they pulled away at Solara, right? So it definitely means that they have a good grasp over the rest of the maps that have been in rotation for quite a little bit. Solara just got introduced into not just the official esports rotation, but literally introduced into the game. So it's going to take them a little bit of time here. I think this is very dangerous for the rest of the teams, because if Rosario Central is only struggling on Solara because they just got introduced to it, y'all better watch out once they get comfortable on this map, because I think Escolta is going to be popping off once again. Massive game from Escolta on that Nexterra. I did not expect to see points like that from one player, let alone the whole team essentially just managing to rip away 29 eliminations is just mind-blowing, right? We've seen stuff like this before, but those are like super seniors in the world of Free Fire esports. So it's great that this is the quality that North America is offering us after a 3-year break, Neptune.
Yeah, exactly. And as one thing though, I mean, there's a lot more that we can see from these teams. But we have to wait though. We have to wait, because come tomorrow, it will be a different group that's showing up. So apologies for in advance, because as much as we want to see more performance coming from this team, they will be going for a break, and then Group B will be introduced by tomorrow. Another set of teams, another set of maps to show who will be topping it off. And then next week, that's where we find out who will be getting in onto the next stage. But I guess, AJ, with 4 maps done, a lot of promise coming from these teams. This is a chance for us to really end it with a bang because of how the teams has done it.
Absolutely, man. And you guys in the comment section, you've been rocking it all day. Tomorrow, please make sure you jump into the conversation and talk to Neptune and I as well. We are keeping an eye on the chat here on the official YouTube page. On that note, on behalf of Broadcast as well as the both of us, thank you so much for joining us. You guys have a rocking day ahead. My name is AJ. I'm the Mustache Show down here with Neptune the Gentleman Garcia. Signing off. We'll catch you guys here, same place, same time tomorrow.